Tick-tock, time to rock. Give me a few seconds here, make sure I am indeed live. Everything says I'm live. I don't trust everything here. All right, I see myself. Can everyone hear me? I haven't live streamed in a while, so I just want to make sure I'm getting everything right. So let me know if you can hear me real quick, and then we could get started. Check, check, one. Check one. You guys hear me? I see hello. I see live. I see yes, sir. Is that a response to whether you can hear me? Okay. All right. I would normally put some headphones in and actually listen to myself, but I can't find my headphones because I haven't been sitting here in a while and don't want to get an echo. So, all right. Everyone says they can hear. I'll have to mention this a couple more times. I was supposed to be live with the Apostate Prophet. He had a medical issue. I think it's related to why he said on his channel he's going to be taking some time off. He was going to go live with me tonight, but wasn't feeling well, and so yeah, he said I could share the information, but I don't want to share the information. So for those of you who pray for the Apostate Prophet, and for you atheists, just hope that chance kicks in and does something cool. If it could create universes and create life, obviously it can help there. All right, so basically wanted to get back in the habit of doing a couple live streams a week. So I thought it'd be a good idea to talk about some of the social media deplatforming issues. They've been popping up everywhere. So we're going to talk a little bit about those. And Twitter and Facebook just had to testify before a Senate hearing. And we're going to look at a clip. We're going to look at a clip from that. We do want to spend a few minutes here chatting so that people can join in, and then we'll talk a little bit about some of the issues. Play a video clip of Twitter of one of the I think he's the head of public policy. He's the director of public policy for Twitter, and he was asked if he would release what is Twitter's system for deciding whether someone should or should not be banned from the platform, and was asked about that, and he didn't want to share what the system was at Twitter for deciding whether people should be banned. So I will probably actually make a separate video on that clip tonight after this live stream, probably post it around midnight or so. So if you're still around after midnight, I'll probably have another video coming up. Green Zombie here says, D-Dub, please make merch. Yeah, I've been planning to for a while. I even had another YouTuber who does graphic design make me this cool logo for the designs. But yeah, I'd like to get some, not to advertise myself or anything, but just like cool quotations from like the pioneers of the scientific revolution, where they were all of the, just so in case anyone doesn't know, all of the pioneers of the scientific revolution. So all of the people who were involved in the actual scientific revolution. So the normal dates that are given for the scientific revolution usually starts with Copernicus, and then is completed with Isaac Newton. And so it's basically you start off in an amazing direction with science, with Copernicus, and then you get to Newton, where then Newton comes up with theories that apply to the entire universe. And so during that period, what's referred to as the scientific revolution, all of those guys were Christians of one variety or another. They were either Protestants, Catholics, or some sort of heretical Christian, but they all believed in God. They all believed in the Bible. And it was actually their belief in a rational cause of the universe, and their belief that they are created in the image of God, that led them to believe that they can go out and understand the universe. So they believed that the universe is created. They compared God to an architect. They compared God to all kinds of things, but they viewed him as like an architect, making everything with mathematical designs. But they also believed that they were created in the image of God, and therefore they had a special ability to go out and learn about the universe. And the reasoning, and they say this in their writings and their letters and so on, that the idea was that you can't predict the way God is going to do something, right? God can do things all kinds of ways. So God can make something slow. He can make something fast. He can do it in all kinds of ways. He can make the planets move however he wants. So since you can't predict how God is going to do it just by believing in God, you have to go out and figure out how he did it, right? You have to go and observe and learn. And so that's basically what started the scientific revolution. They believed that what it means to be in the image of God, creating the image of God, that there was an intellectual component and a moral component. But the intellectual component was that we have intellectual ability. God is omnipotent. We're not. But we since we're created in the image of God, we have the ability to grow in knowledge. And they believe that the more we grow, the more we're imitating God. And so they wanted to figure out how God governed the universe and so on. And that's what led them to go out and find out like what mathematical formulas are governing the universe and things like that. So anyway, if you go through these guys' writings, there are all kinds of just amazing quotations where they explain what is driving their scientific theories. And over again, they basically said, we're worshiping God. When we go and understand the universe, we're taking the image of God and becoming more like God in our knowledge. And so that's why they wanted to understand everything. And that's what fueled the scientific revolution. So anyway, I'd like to take just simple things like that, like put, various scientists on shirts and then like the quotation from the guy on the back of the shirt. And basically it would be all the figures of the scientific revolution, all those guys. And so you could have a separate shirt for like every one of the main figures of the scientific revolution and do stuff like that. So I'd like stuff like that. Maybe some basic arguments. I don't see, the thing is, and part of the reason I've never done, I don't know what the rules would be. I don't know what the rules would be for having a t-shirt company make something about Islam, or basically what they would let me get away with. So I'll probably start with some scientific merch and see how that works, and then eventually get to something dealing with Islam. I have a comment here from Wahid, and we got over 600 people on, so we'll probably get to the topic here in a second. But Wahid is asking, David Wood, can you tell us about Surah 929 and how you respond to someone that uses Mujahid, Muhammad's ambassador, was assassinated, therefore is an act of war, as context? Well, I would say there's nothing, absolutely nothing in the context that applies to that. Two, if you go to Muslim sources, that's not what the context is. That's not what the context is. So trying to think where this would be. Let me go ahead. Just give me a few seconds here. You can chat amongst yourselves. I will give you a quick response to that, and then we'll go into the topic. Just got to pull up my notes. I'll give you the actual quotations on. When you're talking about context, when you're talking about the context of a passage, so something like Surah 9, verse 29, when you're talking about context, there are basically two ways of thinking about the context. You could be thinking of what's called the literary context. So that's the immediate context in the passage, what's happening in the passage as a whole. Or you could be talking about the historical context. So the historical context is what's going on at the time this is revealed. What is this verse meant to answer? And so when someone is making a claim that, hey, Surah 9, verse 29 may sound like it's calling for violence, but if you look at the context, you'll understand completely that this has nothing to do with violence. It's all about self-defense. So the problem with that, of course, is that lots of Muslims, especially Muslim apologists, will just make things up about the context, right? You've got a passage that's saying, fight those who do not believe in Allah. And they'll say, "Oh, that just meant this particular guy or this particular group who were doing really bad things." And there are already problems with that kind of view. Namely, that if that's what Allah meant, if Allah meant, hey, since these people here killed a messenger or something like that, therefore you're going to fight them. If that's what he meant when he said fight those who do not believe, then Allah is the absolute worst communicator in all of history. He's the worst communicator ever. Why would Allah be the worst communicator? Why would Allah be the worst communicator ever? Well, think about this, because Muslims would never accept that response from anyone else. They would never accept that kind of response for everyone else. If Donald Trump came out tomorrow and said, "We are going to fight those who believe in Allah," there would be international uproar, right? What if he was challenged on that? He was called out for that. And people said, "Wait a minute, how are you going to say we have to fight people who believe in Allah? You're talking about fighting all Muslims here." And suppose he came back and said, no, I just meant the terrorists who are attacking us, and we're going to fight them in self-defense. That's all I meant there. What Muslim would accept that as a response? Not one single Muslim on the planet would accept that as a justification for a blanket command, fight those who believe in Allah, right? No one would accept that. And yet they're telling us that when Allah says fight those who do not believe in Allah, he really just meant some specific people. He just didn't manage to clarify that in his perfectly clear word. Do you see the problem there? Does everyone see the problem there? If you're saying that Allah, who claims to be the clearest communicator of all, has all eternity to get his word exactly the way he wants it, and in a passage that is supposedly just about self-defense and fighting some particular people, he never manages to clarify what he actually means. And it sounds like he's just commanding you to fight everyone who doesn't believe in Allah. So wouldn't that be a problem? Of course it would. And so that's a good time to ask. That's a good time to ask your Muslim friends whether they would accept that from anyone else. They wouldn't accept that from George W. Bush. They wouldn't accept that from Barack Obama. They wouldn't accept that from Donald Trump. They would never accept that explanation for anyone in the entire world. All right. So I've been trying to talk and look up the passages at the same time. This is, by the way, this is why it's good to have two people, right? Because if I've got Sam or Anthony or AP or someone else on there with me, I can say, all right, you guys talk for a couple minutes while I look up the passages. All right, so I believe I have the passages here. So we're going to look at the context of Surah 9, verse 29. First, we can look at the historical context. We can look at the literary context. So this is a quotation from Ibn Kathir's Battles of the Prophet, pages 183 to 184. So he's given the historical background for Surah 9, verse 29. And he says, Allah Most High ordered the believers to prohibit the disbelievers from entering or coming near the sacred mosque. Now watch what happens here, because we're actually going to read the passage and you'll see all of this fits together perfectly. So Allah Most High ordered the believers to prohibit the disbelievers from entering or coming near the sacred mosque. So basically Allah says, guys, the pagans are no longer allowed to come to the Kaaba. They're not allowed to do it anymore. On that, the Quraysh, that's Muhammad's tribe, thought that this would reduce their profits from trade. So Muhammad's tribe gets worried all of a sudden that they're going to lose money because Muhammad isn't letting people come to the city anymore. So that would basically, there would be two ways that would happen. One, when people would take the pilgrimage, when pagans would take the pilgrimage to the Kaaba. Remember, the Kaaba is a pagan religious site during this time. When people came for a religious pilgrimage, they would come to Mecca, and then they would stay in Mecca, and they would spend money while they're there. But second, if you're insulting people, saying, hey, you can no longer carry on your religious tradition, that might affect other things, right? Like they don't like you and don't want to work with you anymore. So they don't even want to trade with you or something like that anymore. So the Quraysh thought that this would reduce their profits from trade. Therefore, Allah Most High compensated them and ordered them to fight the people of the book until they embrace Islam or pay the jizya. So notice what happened there, right? The Quraysh were worried, Muhammad's tribesmen were worried that because the pagans are no longer allowed to come to Mecca, that they're going to make less money now. And Mecca didn't have a lot of source of revenue, right? It's in the middle of nowhere. It's in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the desert. So how are they going to make money now? On that, the Quraysh thought that this would reduce their profits from trade. Therefore, Allah Most High compensated them and ordered them to fight the people of the book until they embrace Islam or pay the jizya. Notice what happened. So what's the historical context? Hey, we're not allowing the pagans to come to Mecca anymore. We're going to have less money. What are we going to do? Don't worry, Allah is going to compensate you by ordering you to go out and fight the people of the book. Right? Until they embrace Islam or pay the jizya. They embrace Islam or pay the jizya. Notice, you go out and fight the Jews and the Christians, they either convert, in which case they pay their zakat and the Muslim rulers make money, or they don't convert and they become subjugated and they pay the jizya. Either way, by fighting and subjugating them, you make money from them. So this is how Allah is going to recompense them for the money they're losing from the pagans, right? So then he quotes he quotes the passage. He quotes Surah 9, verses 28 to 29, and concludes, he says, therefore the messenger of Allah decided to fight the Romans in order to call them to Islam. So according to Ibn Kathir, considered by Sunni Muslims to be the greatest Islamic commentator of all time, why did Muhammad go out to fight the Romans? Why was he commanded to go out and fight the people of the book, Jews and Christians? Because that was how Allah was going to get them the money that they were going to lose from the pagans. So that's Ibn Kathir on the historical context. Notice, not one word there about someone killing a messenger, right? If it had been for killing someone, then the command should have, put it this way, Muslims knew they're allowed to fight in self-defense, right? There are already passages in the Quran saying that they could fight people who are attacking them or doing something to them. What's the point of this verse? There are verses in the Quran that clearly say, absolutely clearly say, that you can fight people who are fighting you. So what's the purpose of this verse coming along later when Islam has a principle of abrogation? What's the point of this coming along later and sounding like, hey, now you're fighting people based on their religious views in order to make money from them? So that's the historical context according to Ibn Kathir. Now let's go ahead and read the entire passage. So that's the historical context. Now let's look at the literary context. In other words, we'll read the entire passage. Now I'm going to lay this down as a rule. We're going to read the entire passage. If Allah meant this passage to be understood in the sense of self-defense, then there should be at least one word somewhere in the passage that gives any slight indication that this has something to do with self-defense. We'll read the entire passage and see what we come up with. So the passage here starts in verse 28. Now remember the historical background according to Ibn Kathir. The pagans were no longer allowed to enter the city of Mecca. Muhammad's tribe were worried, how are we going to make money now? Muhammad gets the command, fight those who do not believe, so that he can go and make money from the Romans, from the people of the book. Now let's go ahead and read this. Verse 28. O you who believe, truly the pagans are unclean, so let them not, after this year of theirs, approach the sacred mosque. Does this sound familiar? That's exactly what Ibn Kathir said this is about, right? The pagans aren't allowed to enter the sacred mosque anymore. And if you fear poverty, soon will Allah enrich you, if he wills, out of his bounty, for Allah is all-knowing, all-wise. If you fear poverty, does that sound familiar? Yeah, that's referring to Muhammad's tribe that was worried about how they're going to make money. Soon will Allah enrich you if he wills out of his bounty. So Allah is going to enrich them. So how is Allah going to enrich them? Right? He says right here, hey, I'm going to make you the money back. Okay, how is that going to happen, Allah? Next verse, 929, what you're asking about. Fight those who do not believe in Allah nor the last day, nor hold that forbidden which hath been forbidden by Allah and his messenger, nor acknowledge the religion of truth from among the people of the book, until they pay the jizya with willing submission and feel themselves subdued. So Allah says, hey, don't worry about the money you're about to lose. I'm going to make you more money. How am I going to make you more money? Next verse, fight those who believe not in Allah. Now, if this had been about some particular person, then it should say, fight those who do not believe in Allah that killed some person, right? It wouldn't just be a blanket statement, but notice every reason it gives for fighting people here. Fight those who believe not in Allah. nor the last day. Now notice, those are belief in Allah, the last day. Those are two of the articles of faith, the Islamic articles of faith. So fight those who do not believe in Allah, nor the last day, nor hold that forbidden which hath been forbidden by Allah and his messenger. So if Islam forbids something, but your religion doesn't forbid it, then they're being commanded to fight you here. This is very strange. This is very strange if this is about fighting someone who did something to some Muslim or something like that, right? Nor acknowledge the religion of truth. So if you don't acknowledge the superiority of Islam, you have to be fought. From among the people of the book, so that's referring to Jews and Christians, until they pay the jizya with willing submission and feel themselves subdued. Now, have we seen one word anywhere in there that has anything to do with self-defense? No. Who is this commanding to fight? It does not say fight people who attacked you, fight people who did something bad to you. It says fight those who do not believe. And again, no Muslim would ever accept that explanation from anyone else. If you say, oh man, Al-Qaeda just launched an attack and we're going to go and get them, that would be clear. If Al-Qaeda launched an attack and someone comes out and says, we're going to fight anyone who believes in Allah now, that would be a horrible, horrible communicator. So what Muslims are telling us is Allah is the worst communicator in the history of the world. Something where you're talking about fighting and killing people, you need to be really, really specific. And they're telling us Allah is the worst communicator ever. And countless people have died over the years because Allah is so sloppy in his language in a book where he claims to be a perfectly clear communicator. But we're not done, right? Because notice, we haven't seen anything yet, but the passage isn't done. Let's continue reading. We're looking for something that gives some indication of why it was okay to fight Jews and Christians. The only thing it's said is don't believe in Allah or the last day or hold that forbidden which hath been forbidden by Allah and his messenger, nor acknowledge the religion of truth, right? But it's going to say more, because the question would have arisen, wait a minute, I mean, don't Christians believe in Allah? Don't Jews believe in Allah? Not so fast. What if they're committing a horrible, horrible sin? Next verse, chapter 9, verse 30. And the Jews say, Ezra is the son of Allah. By the way, no, they don't. And the Christians say, the Messiah is the son of Allah. These are the words of their mouths. They imitate the saying of those who disbelieved before. Allah's curse be upon them, how they are turned away. What does it say? In the verse that's right after the command to fight them, an obvious Muslim objection would be, wait a minute, I thought the people of the book also believed in the same God we believe in. And then it's, no, not so fast, because the Jews say Ezra is the son of Allah, and the Christians say Jesus is the son of Allah. So they're actually polytheists, ladies and gentlemen. That's the claim against us, right? That's the justification for fighting us in 929. The question is, how do you get to go out? What's the justification for going out and fighting these Jews and Christians? Notice it's including Jews here, right? So this is not, hey, go fight that particular group of Romans or something like that who did something. This is a command to fight Jews and Christians, right? And it gives the justification. What's the justification? We're actually polytheists, so you can kill us and take our money or subjugate us. But let's keep reading. Let's see what else we've done, because obviously it's going to mention something about people attacking the Muslims. 931. They took their rabbis and their monks to be their lords besides Allah and Christ the Son of Mary. Yet they were commanded to worship but one God. There is no God but he. Praise and glory to him. Far is he from having the partners they associate with him. So we associate partners with Allah. That's the sin of shirk. It gave multiple examples. Jews say that Ezra is the son of Allah. Again, no, they don't. Christians say Jesus is the son of Allah. But then we took their monks and their rabbis and their monks to be lords instead of Allah. Every justification for fighting us here has to do with our religious beliefs or practices. There's not one word so far about any fighting that we've done. 932. They desire to put out the light of Allah with their mouths, but Allah will not allow but that his light should be perfected, even though the unbelievers may detest it. So notice here it's calling us unbelievers, right? Notice the criticism here. This doesn't say they desire to put out the light of Allah with their swords that they use when they're coming to attack you. What does it say? They desire to put out the light of Allah with their mouths. This is about things we say. This is about saying things like Jesus is Lord, right? That's the claim against us. That's the charge against us that justifies violently subjugating us. That's what Allah says. If this isn't what he meant, if he meant, oh no, but they're attacking you, this is the worst, this is the least clear passage in all of history in any book. Last verse. This is the end of the passage. So if we don't have a verse here that explains that this is all about self-defense, there we go. 9:33. It is he who has sent his messenger with guidance and the religion of truth to prevail it over all religion, even though the idolaters may detest it. So we're trying to put out the light of Allah with our mouths. Allah says, no. His light is going to be perfected. How's it going to be perfected? How are you going to stop these Jews and Christians from saying these horrible, horrible things? Well, the last verse in the passage is, it's Allah who sent his messenger, Muhammad, with guidance and the religion of truth to prevail it over all religion. So Muhammad came. How's Muhammad going to make his religion prevail over us, to make us stop saying the blasphemous things we're saying? How's he going to do it? 9:29, fight those who do not believe in Allah. So you're solving two problems. You're silencing the Jews and the Christians, and you're solving your money problem. So that is the entire passage. So you go ahead and tell me, Wahid. And oh gosh, I didn't see there's like 1,000 comments here now. So Wahid, is that clear? So how can someone look at that passage and say, oh, this is really just about self-defense? One, they'd be saying that Allah is a horrible, horrible communicator, because there's not one word in the actual passage that has anything to do with that. Two, the actual historical context says that this is basically a money-making scheme. How are you going to make money? That's what this is supposedly about, right? And three, every justification in the entire passage for fighting the Jews and Christians has to do with our religious beliefs and practices. Not one word in there about fighting in self-defense or something like that. So do you understand, Wahid, why anyone who says that, oh no, this is just about self-defense, is simply being deceptive, and they don't realize what they're doing? They're accusing Allah of being a horrible communicator. I mean, they should be embarrassed for their God if this is how he communicates, right? He really, it's like they're saying he has some sort of cosmic Tourette syndrome, where he's trying really hard to say, guys, only fight in self-defense. And again, he wouldn't need to say that, because he had already said elsewhere in the Quran, Surah 2, for instance, that they can fight people who are fighting them. He doesn't need to repeat himself. But what they're saying is that Allah comes along later, after revealing that they can fight for them, that they can fight people who are fighting them. But then he says it in such horrible language that it's misled 14 centuries worth of Muslim jihadis into going out and fighting Jews and Christians, when he didn't need to say that. So basically, they have to believe that Allah was really clear in the beginning when he's revealing the Quran. And then as the revelations continued, they got progressively less clear. Allah's faculties didn't work as well. He just, his mind started going. He got off his meds, and, he lost his ability to communicate clearly. And so he just started blurting out all of these passages that sound like they're commanding Muslims to go out and fight Jews and Christians, but they're really not, right? So that's what they have to be accusing Allah of. And you can see why Muslims would want to say something like that, right? They don't want to believe that their religion commands them to go out and violently subjugate Jews and Christians. All right, looks like we got some Muslims trolling here. All right, here I'm game. You have Ali. Silence that. What does Psalm 137:9 mean when it says, happy is the one who seizes your infants and dashes them against the rocks? Pretty common objection, right? And here you have, well, you're complaining about the Quran. You're complaining about the Quran ordering people to fight Jews and Christians and unbelievers and to subjugate everyone, to make money off it, things like that. But look at the Bible. It says, happy is the one who seizes your infants and dashes them against the rocks. Why don't you actually, you could actually read what that passage is about and try to understand what that is, what's going on there, right? So you've got this passage, you have the Psalms, right? Let's be clear here. Not everything in the Bible is God speaking, right? I mean, you have people blaspheming Jesus. Is that saying that blasphemy against Jesus is is the Word of God? It's the Word of God in the sense that it's preserved in the Word of God, and the Bible is the Word of God. But is this God promoting? Is it God saying this? Well, no, God's not blaspheming Jesus, right? Look at Job's friends, right? You have chapter after chapter where Job's friends are speaking, and they're saying things that aren't true about Job. So in one sense, that's the Word of God, but in another sense, it's God's not speaking. God is not affirming what these men are saying. So you have the Psalms. And by the way, this is just my particular view here. This is just my particular view. What you have recorded in the Psalms, you have people saying things in the like you'll have in the Psalms. You'll have people crying out to God. Gosh, how long? What are you doing, God? They're complaining to God. Is that God saying, "Ha ha! I promote complaining against God"? Does God do that? No, it's recording their words in their anguish, and sometimes they cry out and they start accusing God. Job, very complaining a lot. Hey, I am righteous. I am righteous. I am righteous. I don't know what's going on. What the heck God is doing? That's in Job. Same thing in the Psalms. And here you have a psalm of a guy who's basically he's basically cursing the Babylonians for the things that they have done, all the things that they have done, the Jews that they have killed, right? And he says, "Blessed is he who does the same thing to you," right? Is that God speaking? Or is that a guy crying out in his anguish and the Bible records it? Well, you have no basis for saying that this is God saying, "Yeah, I'm all for smashing those heads in." This is a guy who's in a state of misery, captive in another land, whose people have been slaughtered, and he's saying, in his state that he's in, "This is what I want to happen to you." Does this mean God is saying, "Yes, this is a good thing to do," or does this mean that we should go out doing that? No. You know what we're commanded. You know we're commanded to live in peace. Why are you pretending that this is promoting something like what Islam teaches? So that will be my view on that. Now we got Abdullah Samir in. Hey, I should have, man, when the apostate prophet couldn't make it, I didn't know Abdullah would be free. It was kind of last minute. So yeah, Abdullah. Hey, you want to jump on? Nah. I'm only planning to go an hour. I just wanted to get back in the habit of live streaming again. So hi Abdullah, we should do something sometime. All right, so we had a topic here. What do you guys want to do? You want me to just take comments and do a discussion, or I did want to look at one clip by that guy. Hey, Abdullah Samir, quit giving me money. You don't give me money, I give you money. David, shameless promo. I'm discussing Christianity. Whoa. Oh, yeah. No, that's a good promo. So this is Abdullah Samir, who's an atheist, says that he is discussing Christianity with Hugh Ross on his channel next Thursday. So guys, you'll want to watch that. Hugh Ross knows his science. In fact, that was the first Christian apologetics book I ever recall reading. I'd had some that I sort of looked through and read. The first actual, here's a book and a title that I remember reading from beginning to end was Hugh Ross's Creator and the Cosmos. Good book. And back then I didn't even know what apologetics was. I didn't know what apologetics was. I just thought I was reading a book about Christianity and so on. But that was given to me by Randy when I was an atheist. So yeah, you guys will want to tune into that. And if you're not on Abdullah's channel, make sure you subscribe so you get the notification. And if you don't like him after that, then you can unsubscribe. But subscribe now so you can watch that. And I believe I will be watching that. Grimlock said, "This is pathetic." What do you mean this is pathetic? Oh, never mind. Everyone else is making fun of Grimlock. All right. All right. So guys, I missed a lot of that discussion because, okay. So here we have Porno Bon says, "David, Shadid Lewis has already made a response to you back in 2012. He addresses 929. See the entire commentary of Maulana Muhammad Ali? You mean the Ahmadi? Hold up. Isn't Maulana Muhammad Ali, Muhammad Assad, and Yusuf Ali? So notice, 3 new guys, right? Notice guys, notice this, right? When I wanted to explain Surah 9, verse 29. What did I do? I went to the Quran and I went to the greatest Islamic commentator of all time. I go to your earliest sources. I go to your most respected commentators. Who do you go to? Maulana Muhammad Ali, an Ahmadi, modern, Muhammad Assad, modern, and Yusuf Ali. Oh, they explain the jizya. I'm sure they do. They explain it to keep people like you in a state of ignorance about what it actually is. So that's just a sad situation, right? And I'm saying this because I see this over and over and over again. So I'll read a passage and I'll say, okay, here's what the Quran says. Now, here's what Muhammad said about it. And here's what his companions said about it. And here's what the 4 rightly guided caliphs said about it. And here's what Islam's greatest commentators of all time said about it. And then the Muslim response is, no, but, this imam over here, he says it doesn't have anything to do with that. And modern Muslims will take that as, see, I've refuted you. So anyway, that's Islam. Oh, wait, Abdullah wants to come on here? I need headphones to keep out the echo. We could try it real quick. You at your computer? All right, guys, we're going to try this. You're going to tell me if we're getting an echo, because normally I would have headphones in to prevent the echo. All right, I'm calling you, Abdullah. We're going to see if this works. Why is my phone ringing? All right, Abdullah, I'm giving up. No, I can't make this stop. All right, it says Abdullah is unavailable. That's pretty treacherous. I'm starting to think that you're an undercover jihadi trying to sabotage my live stream. Just kidding, Abdullah. All right, so hey, let me go ahead and play this video clip I wanted to play. So we wanted to talk about the topic, and then as that's playing, we'll talk a little bit about that, and then maybe take a few minutes to to respond. But guys, just notice that pattern, because that is a very important pattern. Right? You see something in the Quran, you say, let's go ahead and look at this. Let's go to the historical context. Let's go to the literary context, and the response is. No, this guy over here says it's not true. And that is horrible methodology, right? That is horrible methodology that you can say 14 centuries of Muslim interpreters said one thing, and these modern guys come along and all of a sudden they know better. Very, very strange. Ha! Look at that. He's quoting the sealed nectar. Look up when the sealed nectar was. Do you not realize how bad this is? Check out the sealed nectar. Guys, look up the sealed nectar and tell me when that was written. Is that first century of Islam, 2nd century of Islam, 3rd century of Islam, or 20th century book? He's doing the exact same thing. And also Tabakat, volume 2, page 165. Discover the truth. Isn't that Nadir Ahmed's site? Dude, you're scraping the bottom of the barrel here. I don't know what to do, man. If I'm quoting your God and your prophet and you say, who cares about my God and my prophet? There's this 20th century book, The Sealed Nectar. That's all that matters. I don't know how to talk to you, dude, because you can find a Muslim today who will say anything. You can find a Muslim who will say anything to justify any passage, right? You have Muslims everywhere saying, no, Muhammad never said to kill apostates. He was only saying kill apostates if they leave and then they come back and fight and are trying to kill you. Why would he even need to say that then? You already knew you were allowed to fight someone who's coming to kill you. Why would he have to say kill apostates? Why would he do that, right? So yes, you can find people who justify everything. Oh, even though the Quran sounds like it's saying you can take sex slaves and things like that, that's not what Allah really meant. Guy, do you even... If I were a Muslim, I would be horribly offended at this. I would be horribly offended by the claim that Allah and Muhammad are horrible, horrible communicators. They can't say what they mean. They're sloppy. They don't know, and they need modern 20th and 21st century westernized Muslims who are trying to justify Islam in the eyes of a critical world to come along and rescue them. It's absolutely sad, absolutely pathetic. But if you'd like me to actually go through that porno bond, by the way, you need a new name. Porno? Come on, you're a Muslim, right? Shouldn't be talking about porn all the time. If you want me to actually sit down and go through the sealed nectar and show why it is absolute garbage that you should regard as an insult to your God. If you want to go through all those passages and see how your apologists are deliberately deceiving you by twisting and distorting things, then we can do that. All right, well, let's go ahead and we're 43 minutes into it now. We still haven't even gotten to the topic. All right, social media deplatforming. Just wanted to say a few words. Matter of fact, we can go ahead and take questions. I'll go ahead and show the clip. Talk about it for a few minutes, and then we'll take a couple questions. But the clip here is from the director of public policy for Twitter. He was brought before Congress, and he's being asked about Twitter's policies for deleting people, for banning people, and he's asked, "Hey, could you explain what the policy is? Hey, wait a minute. Oh, guys, I didn't know that I had this split screen up. Let me see what I got here. Nope. There we go. All right. So he's talking about the policies that Twitter's supposed to go through to ban people from certain things, and Twitter, the Twitter executive, just doesn't seem to be able to give any sort of response on what the policy is. So let's go ahead and take a peek at this real quick, and then we'll just take a couple more questions. So, and by the way, the congressman, the senator who's asking him about this was really awesome in asking the questions. But let's go ahead and take a look.
What are the protocols that the review team follows? Is there a protocol that they follow?
There are protocols on any number of issues, yes, sir.
And including about deplatforming?
Let me explain.
First, just answer that question. Is there a protocol?
There are many workflows and protocols and
Will you make those public?
We make our terms of service public. And
will you make the protocols public for the review of when you ban people like the Unplanned movie and Jesse Kelly? Will you make those protocols as it relates to the human reviewers? Will you make those public?
I think you're aiming at a very important question, which is transparency.
Why don't you just first answer my question? Will you make those public? Will you commit today to? You said earlier that you are a pro-transparency company, that you want to embrace transparency. So you have your chance now. Tell us you'll make the protocols public. Will you make them public?
It's not up to me to make them public, sir.
Will you advocate for making them public?
I will. Our team will get back to you, sir.
So that's a no. You will not commit today to making your protocols public.
I am a senior and
so
good executive.
You won't say whether or not Mother Teresa's speech is hate speech. You won't tell us really why Unplanned was banned. You won't tell us why Jesse Kelly's speech is banned. You say now that you've admitted that there is human involvement in these decisions, that there are in fact numerous people involved. There are protocols, but you won't make them public. Have I got that right?
I told you why Unplanned movie was banned, was taken down for an hour, and I've told you why Jesse Kelly was kicked off the platform.
No,
and if you want more details, you should ask him.
No. You said you couldn't tell me for privacy concerns related to him, and now you're saying that you do have protocols, but you won't make those public. Yet you're a transparency company.
Oh my goodness! I didn't know we had over 1,000 people on here. Well, that's pretty cool. Especially for something that was just kind of impromptu. Wanted to talk about the social media deplatforming because it's happening. It's happening to everyone right now. So it happened a while back when Apostate Prophet got banned. Then Tommy Robinson had been getting banned from everything. So Twitter, PayPal, then Facebook and Instagram, and then the mess, the rhythm. I mean, it's kind of all messed up. I mean, what he got banned for with Twitter was he said Islam promotes killing, and that's a fact. If you want to say it's justifiable killing or something like that, like a Muslim would respond. But the idea that it doesn't promote killing, with commands like, if anyone leaves his Islamic religion, kill him. And to argue that, you should be banned for that is just absurd. But they banned him for posting a completely true statement. Then Facebook banned him, and when Facebook banned him, they actually said a bunch of things that were totally false. They said, "Oh, he was calling for Muslims to be beheaded." That's absolute nonsense, right? You've got every newspaper in Great Britain stalking his every move. No one ever showed where he posted any such thing, but Facebook says that's why we had to take him down. He's promoting killing. He's calling for killing. So that was total nonsense. But then, after he started focusing on YouTube, YouTube basically said he hasn't broken any of our rules, but we're going to make sure that he doesn't show up in any search engines and that no one can find his material. So YouTube is basically saying we're not going to technically ban him because he hasn't violated any of our policies, but due to complaints, we're going to make sure that that no one can find him. And so the reason that's scary is, I mean, if they can do that to Tommy, they can do that to anybody, right? They can say, hey, we don't like David. David hasn't violated any policies, but we're going to make sure no one can find any of his videos. No one can find his channel. And you can do that right now. Tommy Robinson's channel is still officially on YouTube. Search for Tommy Robinson. You can't find it. And so unless you have like the link saved or something like that. But so that's what YouTube is doing. And with me, of course, I got banned. Well, before I got banned from Twitter, I had a video blocked as hate speech, total utter nonsense. What's disturbing is that there are many Muslims who will say, haha, you deserved it because, you're promoting hate speech. And Western social media platforms are not supposed to go by the Islamic view of hate speech, where anything critical of Islam is hate speech. They're supposed to have a more pro-free speech view and allow criticism. In that one, I was criticizing a prophecy of Muhammad. I didn't say anything negative towards any group other than, hey, this is messed up that Muhammad said this. So the idea that qualifies as hate speech on YouTube, very terrifying. Facebook has flagged me twice, and I made a video. When did I post that? I think yesterday, when I showed that there are actual Muslim groups on Facebook going around and flagging everyone's posts if they're critical of Islam. I mean, if the person is critical of Islam, the post doesn't have to have anything to do with Islam. They'll flag you for it. So yeah, I'm banned now. I might be unbanned by the time I finish this live stream because it was 3 days and it was like 3 days ago at night when I got the ban. But it's obvious what's going to happen. I'm saying it now. It's obvious that I'm going to get another ban right after that. So that's a problem. And I'm saying that because that's what just happened to Sam. Sam is already, Sam got banned for 3 days. Then he got for 7 days. He's in the middle of his 7-day ban right now. And he just sent me another message saying that he's got another violation of the community guidelines. I looked at what the violation was, what he'd been flagged for. The flag is actually Sam simply saying, hey, Christian Prince has done great work. There are even Muslims who admit that a lot of what he's saying is true. And that's it. And it's a link to someone affirming something that a Muslim affirming what Christian Prince had said. And Facebook said this violates our community standards. And so basically, if you can get banned for that, then we're all basically getting banned. And wanted to say that, I mean, this is clearly linked to the mosque attack in Christchurch. And I say that because the first time YouTube just took something of mine down, no explanation, we're just taking down your video, was a video, probably the first time some of you ever saw me or Nabil, but it was a video called Sharia in the US. And that was when we were at the Dearborn Arab Festival, and Nabil was asking a question at a booth that the booth was titled Islam Got Questions, We Got Answers. Nabil went up there to the booth that invited him to ask questions and started asking questions about some tracts that they were handing out and pointing out how what the tracts were saying was false. A couple of Muslim security guards came around, started slapping us around. We had video cameras because we're not stupid. And so we had video cameras, and they started slapping us around, and basically we left the Arab festival there. And so we had this on a video. The video got over 2 million views, and all of a sudden YouTube takes the video down. The video had been up for I guess over a year, something like that. Video had been up, something like that, over a year. It had over 2 million views. YouTube just all of a sudden takes it down. And this was right after the Anders Breivik attack in Norway, right? So Anders Breivik does his attack, which wasn't against Muslims, but he was complaining about Muslims in his manifesto. And after that, YouTube randomly takes a video down. So what happens? Why are they taking down a video that had been up over a year for no reason? And it's pretty obvious, right? There's an attack by some nutcase who's advocating violence against Muslims. And what happens is, obviously, someone goes and then complains to YouTube. This video is making us uncomfortable because we're worried that more people are going to come and attack Muslims this time. And so YouTube took it down, right? Because you obviously don't want to be part of an attack. And so if someone says, hey, I'm worried about this leading to violence, then you start taking stuff down. Well, what happens immediately after the Christchurch attack? Everyone starts getting deplatformed. YouTube effectively deplatforms Tommy Robinson. Me, Sam, Al-Fadi are all losing things left and right. I got kicked off Twitter. All of that over nothing. What are we doing? What are we doing that's any different from what we normally do? We criticize Islam. You ever seen any of us call for violence against Muslims? You ever seen any of us call for hatred against Muslims? No. You see us criticizing Islam. And we're getting banned for that. So it's pretty obvious that after these kinds of attacks, everyone gets super defensive and they want to block anything that might make a Muslim uncomfortable. And notice, no one else has that privilege, right? I mean, there was that when was that, a year or two ago, when there was that attack on a church where an atheist went into a church and sprayed everyone with gunfire? Did you see all this? Did you see atheists getting banned left and right from social media over an atheist going in and killing a bunch of Christians? Did it become a bannable offense to criticize the Bible or Christianity? No. And after the attack on the Jewish synagogue last year, but was there widespread banning of anything critical of Judaism or Jews? No. I still see complaints about Jews hundreds of times a day in the comments sections of YouTube on various videos I'm watching. So no one's getting blocked for this stuff. So Muslims just have a special privilege in our world, namely that they are able apparently to keep getting people blocked. And you can inform Facebook, you can inform Twitter, hey, there are actual groups that call themselves cyber jihad and things like that, going around complaining about all our stuff, and you're taking it down. You're actually enabling cyber jihad, and they just don't care, right? Because they want to be on the right side of that issue morally, and that's obviously going to be on the Muslim side. So that's how that's working. So that is just an ongoing problem. I did want to ask people here. I did want to mention here. Wait a minute. Okay. Respond to this quick comment by Not the Wheel. Said, I had an altercation about Leviticus and apparently the Bible commanding Christians to murder people who don't worship on the Sabbath. Pretty sure the Bible says that Jesus came to fulfill the law. That's correct, right? Yeah, Christians are not commanded to kill anyone ever, right? The harshest penalty that Christians could carry out, according to the New Testament, is excommunication, right? If you get so bad for what you're doing, and the examples are given is like a guy who was sleeping with his own mother-in-law or something like that. And the harshest penalty that Christians were to give is you are no longer part of the fellowship. You are no longer part of the church. That was it. That was the harshest penalty you could. So the idea that Christianity is promoting killing because of something in Leviticus, let me go ahead and break this down real quick. In the Bible, you've got a series of covenants, right? A covenant is an agreement between God and man. God says, here's what you have to do as your part of the covenant. Here's what I'm going to do as my part of the covenant, right? And so you have a covenant between God and Adam. God says, here's what you have to do, Adam, and here's what I'm going to do. Then you have a covenant between God and Noah. Then you have, and matter of fact, let me just give an example here. I should probably make a video on this because it's such a common issue, and the level of biblical illiteracy, not even understanding Old Covenant, New Covenant, things like that, and thinking that, oh, the Bible says this in Exodus or Leviticus, therefore it's telling Christians to do that. It doesn't work like that. Let me just give eating restrictions, dietary restrictions as an example. Adam and Eve were told only to eat vegetables. They were commanded to be vegetarians. They didn't get to eat meat. So the command is in there. They get to eat vegetables. It's there. The command is in the Bible. Does that mean that's what we're commanded? No, that was a command to Adam and Eve. And other things happened later that changed that, right? You get to the time of Noah, God tells Noah, eat anything. Eat any kind of food. So Noah didn't have the restrictions that we find in the law of Moses. He wasn't told, don't eat pork. Noah could eat pork all he wanted. Noah could eat anything he wanted, right? That's what God told him. So wait a minute, does that mean that everyone from then on could eat anything they want? No, you have a covenant between God and the children of Israel, Jews, right? And so the covenant there, they had all kinds of dietary restrictions, right? Then you get down to Christians, the new covenant, the people of the new covenant. Guess what? I'm not one of the children of Israel. I'm kind of in a spiritual sense, we're all bound together now, but those commands were for a particular group. And how do we know? It's in the Bible. Read Acts 15. Read the 15th chapter of Acts. The question actually came up, hey, when these Gentiles are converting to Christianity, how much of the law do they need to follow? Do they need to follow any of it? Do they need to follow all of it? What restrictions from the old covenant are supposed to apply to these Christians? And they applied 4 things to them. And the 4 things that they applied were things that would have broken their fellowship with the Jewish believers. And they weren't told, hey, you can't eat this or you can't eat that. It was not food sacrificed to idols, because that's got a according to Paul, it just sets a bad example if you know that this has been sacrificed to Zeus or something like this, and then you guys are eating it and so on. So these things didn't have a lot to do with the commands that are actually applied to Christians in the New Testament don't have a lot to do with the old covenant. So yes, Jesus fulfilled the law, and we're just never under that covenant, right? So that's the position of the Bible. As far as you have, and people point this out, you have very harsh penalties in the Old Testament. Some people who study this suggest that even when you're under a death sentence under the Old Testament, it doesn't mean you're actually under a death sentence. You would pay a ransom, right? It's like your life has been forfeit, now pay a ransom. And the reason they say that is when it gets to capital murder, if you've deliberately, intentionally murdered someone, it says, but for this, accept no ransom. And so some have speculated that if it's telling you not to accept the ransom here, that for other crimes you could actually pay a ransom to redeem your life. But regardless, let's go with the harsh interpretation that all of these things, all the death penalty for all these different things, they apply. If you look at the covenant, look at what God actually promised, right? You're not going to get sick. You're not going to go hungry. Your women are never going to miscarry. God is basically saying he is going to bless them in every possible way, that he is going to be there living among them and dwelling among them, caring for their every need. And they're told, but here are the rules. You can't do any of these things. So it's harsh penalties, but extreme blessings, right? And so that's the idea. And by the way, notice it's kind of a different situation. If you've got a pillar of fire over there, making sure you never get sick, making sure you never miscarry, making sure everything goes right, and that pillar of fire is saying, don't go do work on the Sabbath. You better not work on the Sabbath. All right, you've got a pillar of fire sitting there telling you not to work on the Sabbath, right? In other words, it's a more extreme form of rebellion than us just hearing something and going out and so on. So it is a more extreme form of rebellion. It sounds simple to us. What do you mean? Working on the Sabbath, doing something like that? Why would something like that have such a harsh penalty? Assuming that there was no ransom or something like that. Again, you have a pillar of cloud, a pillar of fire telling you what to do. There's no doubt in your mind about whether or not you're supposed to be doing this. If you go out and do it anyway, that's a pretty extreme form of rebellion. So anyway, that's hope that helps. Guys, I did want to ask a question, and then we'll take a couple questions. I didn't want to go very long. Gosh, I'm here because I'm just sitting here rambling, spouting whatever pops into my head, and we got 1100. We got 1100 on there. Recap. Oh yeah. Oh no. We got a request. Let me scroll through here, guys. I'm sorry. We got too many people. Normally I have someone to be talking so that I can read the comments. I can't talk and be answering a question and reading the comments at the same time. My brain isn't that good. There are people who can do that. People like vocab and stuff are really good at that. People like Sam. Sam is actually really weird. When Sam works, he will have a video playing one thing, playing a debate or something, and he's able to listen to that, pay attention to that, and be working on something separate and do them both effectively. He will, if you're hanging out with Sam, you can be talking to him, arguing with him and stuff like this, not realizing he's also listening to the conversation beside you, because he'll say, hang on one second. And then he'll answer another objection that someone else brought up. And it's, anyways, people have weird brains. No, I kind of have to focus on one thing at a time. So, sorry, I ended up by myself right now. And, we will get through a couple questions, but I have to actually read them real quick. So Kenneth Saul here said, recap the GoFundMe. I'm going to make a separate video on that, because that was just mind blowing. So for those who didn't see, I put up a GoFundMe for a pastor who does awesome work. Everyone who knows this guy loves him to death, because he really loves Muslims. And you know, even though he comes out of a place of persecution, he comes from the Sudan. He's dedicated his entire life to reaching Muslims with the gospel. And so, but I noticed that this guy never has a reliable vehicle. He's never able to transport things the way, the materials, the way he wants to transport them. And another ministry bought him a trailer. They bought him a trailer that could haul all of his supplies, because the supplies were on pallets in back of a church, wrapped in plastic and stuff like that. Didn't even have a place to store them, outside behind a church. And so, but a ministry bought a trailer for him to haul all these things, but he didn't have a vehicle that could haul the trailer. So I thought, hey, I'll make a video about this, do a GoFundMe. And I had no clue what people were going to give. I was pretty sure that once people heard what this guy does and what the need is, I was pretty sure we'd get, 10 or 12,000 to give to him. Just based on past experiences and needs have come up in the past where I needed a camera and I needed a trip funded and stuff like that. People are pretty quick to give when they see a good cause. So I was thinking, okay, well, I think we'll get at least 10 to 12,000. I'll put 25, because you can get he could get a decent used truck for 10 to 12,000, be able to haul that stuff. But it wouldn't be the most reliable thing in the world, right? Because it's going to have 70, 80,000 miles or something on it. So I put down 25, because I'm thinking 25, if you're talking like an F-150, you're not talking like brand new top of the line, but you can get a really awesome Ford F-150 that's like a year or two old and has low miles, like 10 to 20,000 miles on it or something like this. So you're still getting a really good, reliable truck that can haul a trailer full of, tracts and Bibles and stuff like that. So thought that was, I put down 25. I'm thinking if 25, then that's awesome. But I was thinking, hey, people might give more than requested. If so, then he's talking like brand new 2019 4-door F-150 for hauling things around. So I was like, oh man, it would be awesome if we ended up getting like 30 or 35, because then that guy can go just pick out something awesome and brand new. Now he's got a 10-year warranty, and he doesn't have to worry about everything else this guy has to worry about in life. He no longer has to worry about a vehicle. He knows he's got a solid vehicle for the next 10 years that this thing is under warranty, and then as long as he's taking care of it, it's going to last longer than that. So that's what I was thinking. And then people just blew that out of the water. It was over 47 earlier today. So my high estimate of, oh man, my ultimate dream to give to this guy would be like 35. It'd be cool if people gave that. People blew that out of the water. So they're like 22,000 more than so he could get two. He could get two trucks if he wants. I don't think he wants to, but I would imagine he's going to get a new truck, because I'm going to tell him, hey, get a new truck so that you never have to worry about this thing ever again for the next 10 years or so, because you got a warranty. They'll fix it. Going to advise him to get a new truck. You can get a brand new 4-door F-150 for low 30s, so that'll still leave like $15,000 or more left over, and I would imagine that's going to go to materials. But I'll post an update once I've handed all that money over. and then I'll post another update once we see what he gets with that. And I go out. He's in California, so I go out there a couple times a year. And by the way, start planning now. George puts together a conference. It's called the Our Strong Tower Conference every year in September. Hey, the Apostate Prophet just came on. Wait a minute. Hey, I tried to get Abdullah Samir on here. Let's pause this. Well, let me just go ahead and finish what I was saying there. For those of you who are free, because I always tell people like at the last minute, like 3 days before a conference, hey, there's a conference here. And then people get mad and say, why didn't you tell me, a month before so I could have actually planned for it? Those of you who are watching, since we got 1,100 here, for those of you who want to go to an awesome conference, start planning for September. It's usually around the anniversary of the September 11th attacks, wherever that falls, whatever weekend is closest to that. George puts together the Our Strong Tower Conference out in California. Years ago, it would be me and Nabil going out there, me and Sam going out there. This year, I believe I'm speaking, and Jay Smith is going to be there. So me and Jay Smith at least, and I'm sure several more will be there. But I know I'm going to be there, and Jay Smith's going to be there. So that'll be in the Anaheim area of California, somewhere around there. He goes to different church. We have it in different churches and stuff, but it'll be somewhere out there. So, yeah, keep that open. All right, now Apostate Prophet is on here. I'm going to try to get him on, and I'd like to get his thoughts on the social media deplatforming. So bear with me for a few seconds here. Hey!
Hello.
It's the Prophet of Apostasy. Hang on. I forget how to do this. There we go.
Okay.
Hey, how you doing? You doing better?
A little bit, just a little bit. I had to really rest, get myself a little bit together. I don't know. I think most of people who were expecting me already know what my problem was. So I don't know.
You want to mention it? You want to mention it for anyone who wants to pray for you, even though you're kind of an atheist?
Definitely. Well, I appreciate all the prayers. I mean, if I was in those people's position, I would do the same. I would also pray. I look a bit weird on the screen, by the way. It's like a very low quality. Anyway, the issue is that I have anxiety problems. I have been diagnosed with an anxiety disorder recently in January. And ever since I've been dealing with, with anxiety attacks, with fear issues here and there. And it's a very weird thing because it's not fear of things you are actually supposed to be afraid of. You are not afraid of things that you are supposed to be afraid of. You are afraid of things that absolutely don't make any sense. Your brain just starts making weird connections, just starts going into weird monologues,
so
and
it's kind of like a phobia, but not.
Yeah.
I'm saying that because I actually have I've mentioned it periodically, but I have a slight, very mild, like I can overcome it if I want. Like some people, even the thought of a spider will paralyze them, or a picture of one, or something like that. But I have a slight phobia of talking on the telephone to people I don't know. And it's not where I feel scared of it. I just feel like I can't breathe if I'm talking to someone I don't. So people will be calling me, and David, I called you 9 times. You didn't answer. I'm like, I don't want to. I feel like I'm suffocating. But it's much worse. Drive-through speakers. Right? Something about talking to someone who's not there, or something talking to me and it's not there, right? But drive-through speakers, again, it's not something I'm like, oh no, I'm scared of a drive-through speaker. It's just when I'm going there, I start feeling like I'm out of breath and stuff like this. So I just don't do it. I walk in. I walk into McDonald's. But with you, it's worse, right?
Yeah. It's a disorder. It's a mental disorder that's started to appear. just 4 months ago or 3 months ago, out of nowhere. Well, apparently, it's a thing. People have this anxiety throughout their lives. I had it, for example, I had symptoms of it throughout all my life, but I never realized that I have it because I didn't really know what an anxiety disorder was, what the symptoms are. I just thought those things were normal. Like, for example, when I was supposed to speak in front of a lot of people or go on stage, it wasn't just that I was nervous about it. It was I couldn't do it. I couldn't get myself to do it. It was like impossible. There was like a barrier between me and doing that. Lots of such things. There are like symptoms all your life, and then somewhere in your life, something triggers this, and then it starts having actually weird symptoms like feeling fear for no reason about things like traffic, for example. It's a very weird thing. I don't even normally want to talk about this because it makes you feel embarrassed, makes you feel weird. It makes you feel like at the end, I don't know. But I think I have kind of realized that just facing it, just talking about it feels much better. And what happened today, for example, was I was in traffic and the light turned red and I couldn't move. But in that moment, until the light turned green, my mind started completely going crazy. It started, going in supersonic speed, doing weird stuff, and I just have this impulse to drive, to get out of the situation, to just drive out of there. But I can't. I have to wait there, obviously. But I have this impulse to just go away, and I'm freaking out inside. What happens in that situation is that something there, an underlying reason, induces fear, anxiety, and your brain automatically gets into this fight or flight situation. It makes you ready to either run from there or to fight whatever is there, but there's nothing there. So yeah, that's something I've been dealing with, but I have been improving so much, so it's kind of getting better and better. Just today it was pretty harsh.
So you said, now I'm confused. You said, wait, you said you've been experiencing it throughout life, but then it got worse recently. Is that?
No, I had different symptoms. Like
Okay,
I would feel nervous doing specific things, or I would have unexplainable phobias. Like I have a phobia of flying or jumping insects. I don't have a phobia of spiders, for example, but of jumping or flying insects, even if I know that they are completely harmless. Stuff like that. And that's apparently all. Those are apparently all symptoms of this anxiety. But at some stage, and that was with me 3 months ago, at some stage, those things can become much worse and can have effects like what I'm having right now, where I suddenly feel racing thoughts, shortness of breath, just this fear in my chest, like I'm on a roller coaster, like a bear is in front of me or someone is holding a gun on my head, stuff like that. But I didn't have it this intensely before. I didn't need treatment. I didn't need therapy or medication or anything before, but now I do. But I have been getting better ever since this started. This started in January or so, and I've been getting so much treatment. I've been going to counseling. I've been trying natural remedies and stuff like that, and it has been getting generally better. Just sometimes, like today, it suddenly starts worsening extremely, and yeah.
That stuff can go away. Sam for years he wasn't scared of flying, and then he was like deathly afraid of flying. And it wasn't fear of heights or anything like this. He just, when the door would close and he feels like he's trapped inside of something, he would freak out, and he would start flipping out, going, "Get me off this plane! Get me off this plane!" And they've got this, this Assyrian dude screaming, "Get me off this plane!" And then everyone's freaking out and stuff because they don't know what's going on. But yeah. So anyway, but now he has no problem. He's flying all over the place. So anyway, so everyone pray for AP here to get over the symptoms. Might be mental, might be spiritual. You're doing awesome work in the world, so could be spiritual attack. So everyone pray in case that is a spiritual attack. And let me go and answer one real quick. Oh,
thanks everyone.
Can you see the comments there?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and pick out any comments you want to, so we can go back and forth, and we'll probably go for a little while here, taking some questions. But you look for a comment you want to respond to, I'll go ahead and respond to one right now. So Nihar said, "Hey David, can you explain Luke 6:12? One of those days, Jesus went out to a mountainside to pray and spent the night praying to God. Why Jesus prayed and asked for help? Was it to himself?" Well, no, Nihar, Jesus wasn't praying to himself. As you know, we're Trinitarians, and so basically, in Christian theology, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit are one for all eternity. And so there's always a relationship within the one God. Now, Christian theology teaches that the Son, the divine Son, entered creation as Jesus of Nazareth. So, according to Christian theology, whether you agree with it or not, I'm saying, does this make sense according to Christian theology? When the Son becomes incarnate as a man, is he A, supposed to be an atheist now? Or B, is he supposed to continue that relationship that he had with the Father from all eternity? And if so, if it's the latter, how would he do that as a man? He would do that through prayer. So you can say you don't believe in the incarnation, you don't believe in the Trinity, you don't believe in the deity of Christ. For those of us who do, who believe that God is a Trinity, that the Son becomes incarnate as a man, and that he would continue the relationship that he has had from all eternity with the Father, does it make sense that he would be praying? Yes. Now, the question you should be answering is, why is Allah praying? Because did you know that according to the Quran and the Hadith, your God prays? Allah prays? Let me know if you want to talk about that now, Hart, because I would be happy. I would be happy to go through the Quran and the Hadith, talking all about how Allah prays. And you tell me how that makes sense according to Islamic theology, where Allah isn't a Trinity. So who in the world is Allah talking to? Is he talking to himself? Is he praying for Muhammad to himself? And by the way, if you want the, some of the references I would give, just go into YouTube, because, we've got a bunch of questions to get to. Just you're on YouTube already. After we're done here, type Allah prays and a video will pop up. And that's the one where I show the clip. I show the clip of Muhammad Hijab saying, Allah doesn't pray to, it's for.
For.
Yeah. So Allah is praying for Muhammad, according to Muhammad Hijab and according to the Quran. And so who in the world is Allah praying to? And even today, I'll say to a Muslim, hey, Allah, who's Allah praying to? And they say, no, it's not to, it's for. I know it's for, but who is he praying to? And they'll go, no, not to, for. I understand that it's for Muhammad, but who is it to? Is it to himself or is it to someone else? And they'll go, no, you still don't get it. It's not to, it's for. So anyway, that's why I didn't want to get in this conversation right now. But if you'd like to have that discussion, we can. But you could also see the same thing I would lay out in a video.
It's amazing though when he said that on stage, when he was he's not praying to, he's praying for Muhammad, and the Muslim crowd, his fans are clapping.
They cheered, yes, what? Allah prays for Muhammad. Praise. Explain that. So what's your God doing, spending all his time praying for your prophet? And interestingly, in the Hadith, you can see this in the video. In the Hadith, we have an example of one of Allah's prayers, and Allah prays that His mercy will triumph over His wrath. So he's like praying for self-control. He's saying, whoever he's praying to, whether it's to himself or to someone else, he's either praying, oh, Allah, please let your mercy triumph over your wrath. Or he's praying to someone else, oh, God that's greater than me, please help my mercy triumph over my wrath. Anyway, yeah. So, by the way, this is an interesting topic for us. Was going to mention this earlier, but never got to it. You heard of D-Live yet? Did you hear of that?
What?
D-Live. Have you heard of D-Live yet?
No, what is D-Live?
So D-Live is it's a live streaming platform.
PewDiePie is on there?
Yeah, PewDiePie just said he's going to be doing his live streams over on this alternative platform. So he's not going to do live streams on YouTube now. He's going to do it on this alternative platform. And so that is
wow.
That's interesting stuff, because I don't know about you, but I'd like the top platforms to have some competition, because then they can't treat us like garbage and they have to be worried, because see, it's one thing if you're the only main platform in this area and you kick someone off, well, you're not helping your competition out, because you don't have any serious competition. If every time, if there is a good alternative platform and every time you kick someone off, you're just sending more customers to your opposition, that is bad business there. So it's cool that someone with 93 million subscribers is saying, hey guys, I'm going over here because I don't like the way YouTube is doing things.
Well, that's amazing. It's weird. I was just today. I was thinking while I was looking at something regarding PewDiePie, because of his little battle with this Indian music company. I was just thinking today that the way to create an alternative to YouTube. I was thinking if PewDiePie was kicked off this platform, was kicked off of YouTube, if YouTube gave in to all the pressure from those people who call PewDiePie racist, and they kicked off PewDiePie, in that case, we would really some little revolution would happen. A different platform would emerge, and PewDiePie would go there, and many other people who are for free speech would go there as well. I thought it would have to be PewDiePie, and now I see PewDiePie is here on this platform. That's interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, the reason I was bringing that up is we might want to do something like that because, as you know, the first thing YouTube does when it gives you a strike is it takes away your live streaming ability and ability to post. So you can't even notify your people. You can't even notify your fans. Whereas if you set that up ahead of time, right? If you do some live streams there already, or even regularly, and then you tell people, hey, if you ever see me not doing something here, that's where I am. Then they kind of know it ahead of time. So anyway, I'm thinking about doing something on there. You know what I'm really thinking about? I'm thinking about getting a whole group of Christian apologists and critics of Islam, putting together a big enough team where everyone can be live streaming at some point during the week. You know what I mean? Like, in other words, if you go there every night at 8:00, someone is on there. There's a rotating group. Anyway, that's what I was saying. What do you guys like to know what you guys think of that? Should we just stick with YouTube, or should we given the rate at which we're being banned from various platforms? My inclination is to be on as many platforms as possible as backups for when things go bad. So anyway.
I don't know. I was kind of thinking today that it might be a good idea to create an alternative YouTube channel for live chats, and to just always link live chats to that channel. But
I've thought of that too. I thought of having, because, and I actually thought of that a long time ago for good reasons, because most of my subscribers subscribe for short videos and stuff like that, and when they see a live stream, they get annoyed. Oh, I expected a video, and here's you just rambling for 2 hours. Because people don't know, when I prepare a video, if you see me doing a 5-minute video, I may have spent 5, 6, 7 hours. Because if you hear me talking right now, I can occasionally speak in a couple of coherent sentences and so on, if I'm just talking off the top of my head. If I want something short and concise and every word perfect, just the way I want it, that's a lot of work for me to do that, because I don't just talk off the top of my head like that. Sam Shamoun can do it. Sam Shamoun can speak in complete paragraphs. I can't. So I mess up. I say all that stuff. And so when I want something perfect, it takes me a long time to make it that way. But people come to expect that after years. Just 5-minute video and every word just right, and they come on here and I'm just babbling. But some people like it more. Some people like it conversational better. They like to be able to post things or attack us or whatever it is. So some people like that. But the idea is, if you basically got 3 groups. You got some people who like mainly the live streams and don't care about other things. You got people who like just the videos and not the live streams, and then you've got the people who like any of it. They like it all. And so I was thinking, maybe have 2 channels, one for live streams, one for this, and then the people who like both, they can subscribe to both channels, and those who like either one can pick one.
So you spent so much time with the videos too. I thought I was the only one.
Oh yeah. No. I have spent weeks working on a video. I spent weeks getting it all. I've spent weeks working on the video, planning out everything I'm going to say. Sometimes hours recording it and re-recording it. Guys, just so you know, when you see me put something up on the screen, like a slide or a picture or something, that's because I messed up there, and then I cut out the part where I messed up and spliced it back in. Some people do the jump cut where you're just cutting, which looks cool, But I was making videos before that became cool, and so I started making them in that style of, hey, I can, if I prepare, I can speak for maybe a minute and 30 seconds and get every word right, and then I mess up and fumble over my words. Well, that's no problem. I'll just start over right before I messed up, and then put a picture on the screen of something, and just roll like that. And so that's how I do it.
Yeah, I do this thing. I write scripts for most of my videos. For almost all my videos, I write scripts. I stick to the script mostly. I just improvise here and there, but I have to really cut it. You know,
Yeah.
I have to cut the entire video together because I can't just speak all of that at once. No. I'm a much better writer than I'm a speaker. I just say that very openly.
Tatiana said, Dave, I didn't think you were scared of anything. So she's back on this, said I had a minor phobia. Yeah, that is weird because
you don't have to be scared of anything to have a phobia. It's very different.
Yeah, no. I mean, because I mentioned I don't actually feel. Here's the situation. I don't actually feel afraid. I just noticed over time. Hey, when I'm talking on the phone to someone I don't know, I'm like, why am I breathing heavily? Why am I breathing heavily? Why do I feel like I can't breathe? And I just noticed it over time. And then especially with the drive-through speaker, just feel like uncomfortable. And then so it's not. I don't feel any fear of that. I just don't like feeling that I can't breathe. So I have kind of I don't want to be in that situation because I feel like I'm suffocating. So it's very weird. But here's the thing. I mean, I've been on the bottom of a pile of dudes who are just stomping my head in and kicking my head like a soccer ball. I am completely calm in those kinds of situations. People beating me up, people threatening me, people trying to kill me, totally calm. It's amusing, but you put me on the phone sometimes in the wrong, just, it goes back, it goes in and out, but you put me on the phone sometimes and I'll just feel like I'm gasping for air. And so, yep, it's, the brain is weird.
People don't really understand this until they experience it, or if they're not familiar with the topic. But the thing is, if people have phobias or anxiety, it's not because they don't have courage. It's not because they are afraid of things. It is because there is something wrong, because there is something irrational going on, and your brain reacts to something completely extraordinarily and induces fear, which you can pretty much do nothing about.
Yeah. So things are just wired weirdly, and for some reason, when a voice is talking to me, specifically to me, because that's the connection, right? There's a phone where it's just a connection I'm making. There's a phone and someone's talking to me and I don't know the person, and there's a speaker where someone is talking to me and I don't know the person, and in either case is a person actually there, and for some reason that goes into my brain as something is not right here. And I didn't even know. I looked it up, and there's a phobia of talking to people on the phone. There's a phobia of drive-through speakers. They actually have names. So it was good to know that that's actually a thing.
Yeah.
Bumba here said, when are you going to do an interview with Bridget Gabriel? I'd be happy to if anyone knows her. But I've kind of already got a line like I want to get Tommy Robinson on, and everyone has sent me the contact info, and I just never get around to doing it because I'm making videos and I have 5 kids all the time. And I want to get Christian Prince on here, and I just haven't been doing live streams for a long time. So yeah, we're going to try and get everyone on here. I want to get Frank Turek on there because Frank's cool. But yeah, we're gonna try and get everyone on here. Basically, that's why I was trying to start again. Want to get started, and that's why I was thinking about D Live or here, continuing to use this one. Not sure yet, but yeah, so might go with the plan of making a separate channel on YouTube for live streams, or doing something on D Live. But once that's going, my ultimate goal would be live stream every night, or maybe 5 days a week with different people throughout the week, and still have enough time to post videos most days. So I'd like to post like a new video in the morning and then live stream at night. I'd like to keep that up as close as I can to every day of the week. That's the goal. I'm not there, but I'm trying to work into it. But I notice I've been focusing lots on videos recently and haven't been live streaming, so got to get back into live streaming. And it's awesome with 1,100 people. That's cool. All right, you see any comments you want to address, or should I start?
I don't know. I don't see many questions. Most of the comments are just remarks. So I didn't find anything to answer, actually. If you have any questions, guys, just ask.
Apostate prophet, you need to man up and stop being scared. No, I made that up. No one said that.
Yeah, I suspected. My friend, you suffer from Islamophobia, said Tiberius Caligula Nero.
We suffer from Islamophobia.
Absolutely.
That's funny. We get accused of Islamophobia when Islam is whatever other mental problems we have. Being afraid of Islam is not one of them. Like,
Yeah.
like of all the things you could say we're scared of, it's the thing that we are constantly like poking the bee's nest, right?
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't be doing all this stuff if I was scared of it.
Hey, my kids over the summer, my kids wanted to. There was this big wasp nest outside, and my kids wanted me to record them for a video of punching it. And they just wanted to go up and just punch the heck out of the thing, and then whatever happens if they get stung 50 times or whatever, they thought it'd make an amusing video. But yeah, so I was totally down with that. But yeah, a delivery guy got scared to bring a package in, so I was like, I just got to go out and kill that thing. All right, here's a quick one. 1000 Clever Boy says, did David Wood ever post part 4 of The Psychology of Islam? I love the first 3 parts, but can't find part 4 that he said was coming. Any links? Whenever I try to do a long series, sometimes I don't get to them. In fact, sometimes I'll start a series and I'll just do the first one and never make the second one because I think of other things I want to make more. And so, no, I never made part 4 of Psychology of Islam. There were at least 5 parts of that I had sort of mapped out with the points that I wanted to make. But no, I haven't posted that. With that said, I will, because I think it's a really, really important topic. So I will get back to that series eventually. I think what I got sidetracked with there was preparing for my Paul versus Muhammad series, which I definitely wanted. That was like 27 videos or something like that. But that and Islamicize Me are the records. You can go back to videos, like you can go back to that video where I went through 20 mistakes on ABC's special on Islam, and I said 20 errors on 2020, and I could have given more, but they were just making mistake after mistake after mistake. And I said, after ABC, what comes next? And I go BBC, because there was a BBC documentary on Muhammad that was just pure garbage. Even though I was in it, they interviewed me. I was one of the guys in it. But the idea is they would let me and Robert say something, and then they'd have a bunch of Muslims, refute us, or other people refute us and stuff. So we knew that. And Robert said, what was funny is they were interviewing me and Robert in the same place. So they brought us to the same location where they're recording. When they finished with me, I'm walking out. Robert walks in, and the woman who's interviewing us, the producer, are all there. And Robert looks at me and he goes, "They're just going to try and make us look bad. Watch." He said it right in front of them. That's exactly what they did. But anyway, the point of all that was I was planning on going alphabetically, right? ABC, BBC, CNN, and just go down the line through every network and showing all the mistakes they made. People still ask me this day, "Hey, where's the BBC one?" I'm easily distracted, because just imagine, like, ideas pop into my head like faster than I can ever do anything with them. For every video I actually make, I have thought of like 30 more that I don't make.
Oh, and, yeah. Oh yeah, I have a list of hundreds of things that I've written down. Well, always I think, oh, this is a great idea. I should be working on this soon. Then I make a note of it, and it just piles up and piles up and piles up, and it all gets lost. It's incredible.
Yeah, you know what I want to do? I'm going to get I want to eventually build a studio and have 1 or 2 full-time camera guys / editor tech guys, right? And then we just crank out content. You, me, Sam Shamoon, anyone who's there, we crank out the content, and then guys do that. And then
that would be amazing.
Seems like it would be a very, very rapid process. By the way, you came up with you texted me an awesome idea the other day.
Oh yeah. You mean the yeah, was it about the divergence?
Oh yeah. It was Muhammad. So you wanted to interview Muhammad, because vocab's been someone said your mic is louder than mine.
Oh really? I might be too close.
No, you're not. I got controls here, so I'll adjust it. But sometimes I find that people are just trolling me and they'll complain about audio to distract me. But who is this? All right, Michael Elfers. But I do have that problem where I forget to adjust them and someone's way louder and I don't see it until later or something like that.
Oh, this was my idea. I said I need a video with you where you are Mohammed and I'm a believer with very weak belief, and you describe the virgins in heaven to me in a very primitive way.
Yeah.
That was
So the idea is he's a weak believer talking to Muhammad, and I responded. I said, "No, vocab
yeah.
is now Muhammad. Vocab is permanently Muhammad. He's going to be Muhammad in the epic rap battle that's coming up. He's been Muhammad in I think 3 videos now, and he's going to be Muhammad for a long time to come. But I could be something else in it. I could be Abu Bakr or Angel Gabriel or just someone who kills you for your doubts or something like that. So the idea is he's going to be having doubts, and then what? Muhammad's going to be talking about, well, what about all the virgins, man?
Yeah.
And so that's supposed to what that's
Have
supposed
big
to
eyes. Yeah. That was the idea. I think it would be quite funny.
Oh no, it's happening. It's happening. You gotta write the script, and
I'll do that.
Me, Vocab, and John get together periodically whenever we can, whenever we have time. We get together and we try to have a couple videos like prepared beforehand. So we get together. Here's how we're going to do it, and then we do it. Or in the case of Islamicize Me, 30 some videos, and we plan them. We record them over a period of several days. But no problem. You come up with like 2 video scripts or something like that involves us with me, Vocab, whoever, and stuff like that. Then we'll bring you in.
I have so many ideas for all of us. I have so many ideas for you and me. I don't know. I need to write a lot, and I'll join you with that.
Someone else said I'm still lower. I hope you guys haven't been telling me all along, and I just didn't see it. All right,
I didn't see any such comment.
Check 1.
It might be just too loud.
1. I've got controls. I got controls all in this thing, but yeah. So I turned it up some. We'll see what happens. I think this thing adjusts automatically too, because this is giving me a low reading, even though I'm getting real close to it. Check. Yeah, I got to figure out how to use my equipment better.
I don't want to deal with all that stuff when I make live chat, so I just use Google Hangouts. Yeah.
Check. All right. Yeah. All right. Anything else I'm going to have to do is I'm just going to have to mess with it.
Okay. There have been so many questions to me about how my family reacted to my leaving Islam. My family doesn't know that I left Islam. They still don't know.
No one walked up to your family and like, hey, did you know your son's on YouTube talking trash? No one did that?
I don't know. I'm still occasionally talking to my parents. I'm having just normal conversations about how life is going and all that normal stuff. But I think if they learn that I'm doing this, that I left Islam and I'm talking about Islam on YouTube, they would definitely give a reaction to me. They would probably shun me for a while, and then try to bring me back and stuff like that. But nothing happened. So I'm just assuming that they probably don't know. I don't know. I never told them. I didn't think it was necessary to tell them. I don't need to convert them to my side, to the dark side. So,
Black Angel says, "Could you please make Vocab's beard orange and paint one tooth black, please?" We can do that.
Someone said, "Why don't you make something?"
Hey,
like
now people are saying
me?
audio is fine. What the heck? All right, go ahead. I don't know who to trust here.
Why don't you make something like Islamicize Me and cast Apostate Prophet in it? Said Malika Khan. I think we have a plan like that, but.
Oh yeah, guys. Just so you know, I mean, I basically moved last year, and John is working full time, and Vocab's working. So to get everyone together for like a sustained period of time where we can all be in a place for like a week to record a big project. It's kind of tricky, but the idea here is with Islamicize Me, it was if you remember the beginning was we started off as atheists and like Dawkins fans, and then a guy challenged us to live according to the teachings of Muhammad for 30 days, so we did that. But we're gonna have the prequel. So the plan is we're this year sometime. We're going to have the prequel series to that when we're atheists. So not sure how we'll start that one. We'll probably start off as something else like Mormons or whatever, right? Start off that one as, and then we become atheists. But even though at first we're like, just nice, friendly atheists, we become like jerk atheists, right?
Uh-huh.
You got some people who can't get along with anyone, stuff like that. And so
Yeah.
we're going to become more like that. So the apostate prophet can be in that one as, you know, as an atheist. And so he's down for the series. So we'll have to figure out how to make it awesome.
Yeah.
And then so that'll be this year, and then the following year, so 2020, we're going to do the sequel to Islamicize Me, where we're trying to live as Christians now, but we can also bring back characters who want to kill us because we're apostates. And then maybe we run into the apostate prophet again.
Yeah.
Us running all over the place trying to.
That's a great thought.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, we have tons of awesome videos to do.
Someone said, "What do you think of Sufi Islam?" I think that's a very interesting question because I was part of Sufi Islam myself when I was a Muslim. I was a Sufi, which is, for all those who don't know, that's the mysticist movement or part inside Islam, which still quite many people in the Muslim world belong to. They follow Sufism, mysticism, instead of fundamentalism, or in other words, literalism or mainstream Islam. The thing is, very often Sufi Muslims are portrayed as the more peaceful Muslims because they don't advocate things like installing brutal laws, terrorizing the world, and walking around with stuff like behead those who insult Muhammad and so on. But I was just thinking about that today, actually, very ironically. And what I was thinking is, when you are a Sufi Muslim, you are usually friendlier on average to others, to non-Muslims. If you're a fundamentalist Muslim, you are often pretty horrible to everyone, including Muslims and non-Muslims. But the problem is that if you're a Sufi Muslim, you are pretty harsh on yourself. Sufi Muslims have this philosophy, this weird attitude to really just humiliate yourself, to keep yourself so low, to deprave yourself of so many things in life, and just to be so weird. I don't know. Sufi Muslims are more peaceful on average. They get along better with others, but they are also pretty crazy in other ways, so that they let themselves suffer much more than other Muslims do. It's kind of, I don't know. I wouldn't equate them with fundamentalist Muslims, with all those who go around the world and proclaim pretty harsh laws for the rest of the world, including for non-Muslims. I wouldn't equate them with those who think it's okay to engage in global jihad and to try to change the world by the sword. But I would say they are just in different ways pretty weird. Sufi Islam is just in different ways pretty crazy. I have a past with it, and sometimes I kind of wish I didn't have that past with that. Anyway.
Right, here's another question for you up on the screen. What is Apostate Prophet's worldview other than Islam?
That's a tough one. What is my worldview? I always say I'm a free thinker. That's why that's what that's how I always respond. Even when people ask me if I'm an atheist, I say I'm a free thinker. I don't like the atheist label. I don't like the whole, because when people say atheist, when people talk of atheism and atheists, they think of this general type that goes around insulting people for believing in God, insulting people for believing in something supernatural, insulting religions, saying that, the evolution and Big Bang is like the Bible, is like the atheist Bible and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm just not really there. I don't believe in God, but the sole reason I don't believe in God is not
but
because
he believes in you, AP.
Might be. The sole reason I don't believe in God is not because it's not because I'm angry. It's not because I'm so stubborn that I don't want to be with it. It's not because I think God is unfair. It's merely because I just don't come to make myself believe. And what I think is, I sympathize with Christianity very much. I have always said that. I get a lot of anger for saying that, for repeating that on my Twitter account or on YouTube. I like Christianity and I like Christians in general. I'm not an anti-theist. I don't hate people or insult people for believing in God or being Christians. I would really often wish to be a Christian because I think it's just morally very nice. Mostly. The only problem is if I can't make myself believe in God. If I can't believe in God, then what is the point in following something? That would be hypocritical. That's how I see it. I mean, I don't know if you can agree with me that far. I mean, I can't go around and say, hey, I'm a Christian, I want to get baptized, but I don't believe in God. It doesn't work that way.
Hey,
You know,
hey, we should do a series with you and Abdullah Samir and me, and I'll just like explain some argument, some philosophical argument for the existence of God, and you guys can respond and give feedback and say what you think about it. Like, is that a good argument? Is that a dumb argument? Like that. Go through that. I think people would find that interesting.
It is interesting. The thing is just I don't want to, when people ask me why I don't believe in God, I don't want to explain why I don't believe in God. I mean, it's a subject that I think about every day. It's a subject that I have thought so much about, that I've thought about more than most of the people I've known, maybe more than anyone I've ever known. But the thing is, I don't want to share my whole thoughts, my conclusions about that with other people, because I think my whole life history with questioning God and with thinking about God, with thinking about all those possibilities, are my inner world. That's what those are my conclusions. Those are my convictions, my thoughts. I'm still very unclear about so many things. I always say we don't even know how the universe looks. We don't know where we are in the universe. We don't know what's beyond the universe. We don't know what happened before the Big Bang, and so on. With all these questions that we don't have answered, I can't go around talking and making cases for why I don't believe in God, because I don't want to sit here with your audience, for example, with Christians, and cause with things I could say, no matter how strong my arguments are or how weak my arguments are. I don't want people to make click and agree with me and change their minds about things.
Oh, but you'll sit there blasting Islam all day, but you want to treat Christians with kid gloves. Come on, we're not made of glass here.
Because I don't like Islam. Because Islam is a threat. Because Islam is horrible.
The real
because
threat
Islam
is Christianity,
is a real problem. No. Praying for people is worse than terrorism.
All right,
Yeah,
here's
that's it.
one asking me what are my thoughts on Surah 2, verse 106 of the Quran. So that's one of the main abrogation verses. Very important one as well. If you have
Which one?
Surah 2, verse 106. Matter of fact, I'll pull it up here. Surah 2, verse 106. Whatever communications we abrogate or cause to be forgotten, we bring one better than it or like it. Do you not know that Allah has power over all things? All right. So read that again. Whatever communications, so talking about revelations here, whatever communications, and just give you a couple translations here. Pickthall says, nothing of our revelations. Yusuf Ali, none of our revelations. Hilali Khan, whatever verse we abrogate. And then Shakir, whatever communications we abrogate or cause to be forgotten, we bring one better than it or like it. Do you not know that Allah has power over all things? Basically, in the early centuries of Islam, you in the Quran, you have all sorts of contradictory commands, right? So like, you'll go to one verse and it'll say that the penalty for sexual sin is house arrest. You go to another verse and it'll say that the penalty for sexual sin is lashes, right? Well, what are you actually supposed to do? Or if, you look at a surah and it says, hey, if the unbelievers are bothering you, you just say, hey, to you be your religion and to me be my religion. You'll have another verse that says, no, you can fight, but in self-defense. If someone's messing with you, you have another verse, no, you have to fight those who do not believe in Allah, right? They had a way of reconciling all this, and it was the doctrine of abrogation, that verses that came later cancel or abrogate earlier verses. And so if you're reading the Quran, you find two different verses telling you two different things to do, and you don't know how to reconcile them, you just say, okay, let me look at this historically and which one came last, and that's the one that'll apply to me. That's one view of abrogation. There's another where it's situational, right? Like whatever situation you're in that was most similar to the situation at the time of this revelation, then you go with that one. So that's the idea. Whereas Muslims today have a very different method of interpretation. the Islamic method of interpretation, especially for westernized Muslims today, is if you find multiple verses of the Quran that seem to contradict each other, pick the one that you like best, say that means what it says, and then use that to throw out the other verse that you really hate. So here's where, you have a situation where the Quran commands, fight those who do not believe in Allah. You have other verses, fight those who fight you. And they'll say, oh, when Allah says, fight those who fight you, there he means what he says. So he means fight in self-defense. Therefore, when he says, fight those who do not believe, it must just mean the same thing as fight those who fight you, which doesn't make any sense, right? But the earlier Muslims, well, really 14 centuries of Muslims, had a much easier way with this. They would just say which one came last. That one cancels the one that came earlier. So that's what that. Matter of fact, let me read a quick commentary here. I do have commentaries on Surah 2, verse 106. This is from Al-Wahidi, and this is just to show that earlier Muslims understood this, but he actually gives the historical background of these revelations. So just so you know, Surah 16, verse 101, and Surah 2, verse 106 are the main Quran verses that refer to abrogation. So Al-Wahidi, and he's giving the verse and his commentary. So nothing of our revelations do we abrogate or cause to be forgotten, but we bring in place one better or the like thereof. Wahidi says, the commentators of the Quran said, the idolaters said. So the historical background is that idolaters were saying something. So the idolaters said, do you not see that Muhammad commands his companions with something and then forbids them from the same and commands them to do the exact opposite? One day he says something and the following day he retracts it. The Quran is nothing but the speech of Muhammad who has invented it. It is speech that contradicts itself. Allah, exalted is he, therefore revealed this verse and 16 verse 101. So this is a Muslim commentator saying that the historical background for these verses on abrogation, because I'm pointing this out because there are Muslims today who don't believe in abrogation. They'll try and reconcile all of them. And they'll say, oh, abrogation, that refers to like earlier revelations, like the Bible being abrogated. No, it doesn't. Absolutely not. You go through the Hadith, they talk about abrogation all the time. This verse abrogates that verse, right? But here
otherwise,
you have
the whole Quran wouldn't make sense in its context.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I should make a video out of like just this commentary on the historical background. But so the historical background, according to Wahidi, is the unbelievers are making fun of the Muslims. How do you not see that your prophet comes out and tells you one thing, and then the next day he comes out and changes the rule, and you guys just go along with it? Aren't you supposed to believe that this is Allah's eternal word here? That Allah had all eternity to get his word exactly the way he wanted it, and then somehow Allah commands you one thing, and then the next day changes it? This is incoherent. And then Muhammad comes back, no, man. Surah 2, 106, when Allah abrogates something, he brings you something better than it or like it. Don't you know Allah has power over all things? Well, Allah is so powerful he can keep changing his revelations every day. So that's the
what I find so hilarious about it is how Allah makes a comment about something that people bring up. People complain about something, and then Allah comes in and makes an explanation to that in the Quran. He directly comments on something people are saying, something disbelievers are saying, which is hilarious.
It's very helpful. All right. Well, it's 9:55.
I want to make a video about the whole abrogation thing soon, actually, but I wanted to add something quickly, which is there have been some early views about that. I think by the Mu'tazila about that the abrogation issue, that those verses which say that there is abrogation, that those verses conclude and mean that the Quran is not eternal. So it has been created at some point and didn't exist before it was created and is not considered eternal. But the majority of Muslims rejected that view afterward because they didn't like the whole movement. They rejected this view afterward. There is still a kind of this disagreement going on whether on how the Quran is considered eternal. If the Quran in its complete form was existent before it was created or not, or if it was just Allah's word and the Quran is just a product thereof or not. But the point is, it doesn't even matter. What matters is that the Quran is in its entirety except for some very little exceptions, considered to be eternal, at least from the moment it was created until the world is done and over and finished, until the day of judgment. In that case, it is very ridiculous to think to think that there are so many verses in there, like one very, very important one, which is about not forcing people into Islam. It is ridiculous to think that the Almighty Allah sent a book that is supposed to be eternal, but it also contains verses that are not supposed to be taken as orders anymore because they have been abrogated. But they are still in the Quran; they are still existent. Mm-hmm. It's interesting, and many Muslims don't even properly know about this. And I think it's a very important topic that should be brought up in discussions with Muslims. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just my 5 cents.
Have you ever seen this one?
What?
Did Muhammad commit necrophilia? Have you seen?
No.
Have you seen that claim?
I did, but I don't think it's true. It's based on a misunderstanding.
Yeah, it's a situation where, I mean, there might be people who know we don't have access to all the sources that certain people in other places have access to. So there may be more on this than I'm aware of. But basically, it was Ali's mother, right? Was it Ali's mother?
I don't remember who it was.
I think it was Ali's mother, and she died as an unbeliever. So anyway, I read this like 10 years ago. I don't talk about it much because I'm like AP here. I don't know what the passage means, and so I've never focused on it. But I believe Ali's mother died, and she was an unbeliever. And people can correct me on this. People can correct me here if I'm getting this wrong, because again, this is a long time ago. So Ali's mother apparently died, and she was an unbeliever. So Ali's all broken up about it, and then Muhammad said, said something like, "I will sleep with her tonight, and therefore, apparently, she'll be one of his wives in heaven. That way, she'll actually make it to paradise." And then so he crawled into her grave and slept with her. Now, slept, as in English, can be interpreted in both ways, right? If you say, "Hey, I slept with her," that could mean, "Hey, I slept right beside her," or it can mean, "I had sex with her." And that's as far as I understand it. So notice, either way, it's weird, right? The mom's going to crawl down and sleep beside someone in a grave, and therefore he'll be married to her in paradise or something like that. Or it's actually talking about him consummating the marriage, which is super creepy. But I believe the source is Kanz al-Umal, which I don't think has been translated into English. So I was reading someone putting the source up. But someone like the Apostate someone like Christian Prince would know more about this. Like again, I read it years ago, wasn't sure what the passage was saying, and so never made much of it. But if people have better understanding or are aware of other sources, then might know.
The thing is, I always say fair criticism of Islam. I want to do fair criticism, and sometimes I see that people, that even very reliable people that I mostly see say very accurate things about Islam, bring up some things that I don't completely agree with. One of those things is taqiyya, and I want to further explain that in a different video. They are not entirely wrong, but taqiyya is not most of people who oppose Islam are not entirely right about the topic of taqiyya, for example. But the issue of necrophilia, I didn't look very, very much into it. I looked several times into it to check what that whole story is really about, because I never heard of it before when I was a Muslim. Not even I didn't hear about it as an actual thing after I left Islam and after I started analyzing and criticizing it. But when I looked at it, and I look at it right now again, I see that it is mostly based on only one authentic source, and it is kind of derived from Kanz al-Ummah, which someone posted here as well. But that has no English translation and is also considered a very weak source and an unreliable source, or at least that narration is considered unreliable and weak. But the authentic narration, which this idea is based on, basically says that Muhammad and Ali were at the grave, and Ali was weeping next to the grave, and then Muhammad asked the people if there is anyone among the people who didn't have sex with his wife last night. That's what he says, and that's all we have in the hadith. And when someone said, "Yeah, me, I didn't have sex with my wife last night," Muhammad said, "Okay, please don't go down to the grave." That's what the entire idea, what the entire thought of necrophilia in Islam is based on. But I think what this basically implies, what this basically is supposed to say is, according to Islam, according to Islamic purity rules, if you have sex, if you have sexual intercourse, you are supposed to completely wash yourself, or you are not allowed to engage in specific actions like such a sacred action like dealing with someone who has died, who has died and who needs to be buried. I think the point here in Muhammad asking the people if there is someone who didn't have sexual intercourse with his wife last night is because he wants to find someone who is pure, who doesn't need to wash themselves, who can fulfill this action that needs to be done here. I think that is the entire point of this hadith. I'm not entirely sure, but that is what it looks like to me at the first glance, and at several other glances that I had before. But I might need to look into this much further. As far as I can see, I can't see any form of necrophilia here, except if we really want to see that.
Mm-hmm. I would have to say that if Muslim apologists like Zakir Naik and Ahmed Deedat are correct, Muhammad was at least, if necrophilia means, love of the dead, then Muhammad at least wanted to, because Muslim apologists say that Song of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 16 of the Bible is referring to Muhammad. But this is about Solomon's bride talking about a man she loves. And so it's Muslim apologists who say, no, she's not talking about Solomon. She's talking about Muhammad. So this means that she's actually having some sort of vision and lusting after Muhammad. But she also says in the same book that her beloved's desire is for her. So if Muslim apologists are right, and this is talking about Muhammad, then Muhammad was lusting after her as well. But she had been dead for 1,600 years. So if Muslim apologists are right, then Muhammad was in love with a woman who had been dead for 16 centuries. And if you don't like that, take it up with Zakir Naik. He's the one who said it. So everyone knows.
I'm not familiar with that. I need to check that.
Here's one. What do you think about Arab Christians being persecuted in Islamic countries? You're closer to the Arab world than I was.
Yeah. It's not only about Arab Christians. It's about Christians in general. I mean, I brought it up recently, quite often, about not only the Arab world. I would go outside the Arab world, because Christians are pretty much non-existent in the Arab world. They are considered a very, very small minority compared to Christians in other parts of the Islamic world, like, for example, Pakistan or in Egypt. The problem in Egypt is that the Christians in the minority are not Arabs. They are Coptic Christians. But there is very, very heavy persecution going on. I have been looking into that very recently. I was even in contact with an organization in Egypt that I contacted because I wanted to organize a fundraiser for a charity for Coptic Christians, for Coptic children, for Coptic orphans. The funny thing is, when I contacted that group and said, "Hey, it's me. I'm doing this and this, and I wanted to organize a fundraiser to help these people in Egypt," the person I was in contact with said to me, "I see that you have a very controversial work, and I think it wouldn't be appropriate for you to raise to make a fundraiser for us. We really appreciate it. You can do it if you want to do it anonymously, but if you do it under your current business, it might cause problems between us and the Egyptian government." That's how far it goes. I am asked by the organization not to organize a fundraiser because it could cause problems, and the Egyptian government could find a reason through that to again harass and persecute and oppress the Coptic Christian minority in that country, which is we speak about Islamophobia. We speak about Islamophobia so much in the West, as if it was a huge problem. We speak about anti-Muslim bigotry as if it was a huge problem. Only recently, Mehdi Hassan just made a huge post in which he was again trying to imply that anti-Muslim bigotry was one of the biggest problems in the West, and the lives of Muslims was being made so difficult by all these racist, Islamophobic, Muslim-hating, bigot people over here. I was a Muslim in the West. I have seen so many people of Muslim backgrounds as immigrants in the West. I'm still an immigrant here in the West, and there is absolutely no oppression, there is absolutely no discrimination, and there is little to no bigotry at all. The vast majority of Muslims in the West are subject to no kind of bigotry or discrimination or anything that in any way impairs their life. Meanwhile, we have minorities in every Islamic country, especially in countries like Sudan, Pakistan, or Egypt, where Christians can't even breathe, where Christians can't properly go out and protest, where we can't even hear what Christians are going through because the government cracks down on them whenever they start to speak, because they have no means to speak. They have no means to go out and protest or to put themselves into the parliament of the country and actually do something for the Christian community in their country. So there is extreme hypocrisy and so much oppression that comes from Muslims, from Muslim rulers, from the Islamic world against minorities, especially against Christians. We all still know that Christians are the most persecuted religious group in the world.
Yeah, I've been wanting to make a video on that.
Yeah, many anti-theist atheists start laughing and say, "Oh, poor Christians," when you bring this up. But what they think is that some person in America is just saying that because some person in America is feeling offended about how things go. But it is a fact that Christians are the most persecuted religious group in the world, because many Christians are living in countries where there is basically no freedom for religious minorities. Very big Christian populations live in the Islamic world. And in many of those Islamic countries, Christians are persecuted and discriminated against and killed in masses. Of course, it's not only Islamic countries. There are also some other countries like China or North Korea that also cause a lot of oppression. But many Islamic countries contribute to this and are the main cause why Christians are still the most persecuted group in the world.
Yeah. Hey, you know what's cool? I mean, it's cool in the sense that it's kind of fulfilling a prophecy where Jesus said that we will be hated. Will be hated by all people and so on. But everywhere you go with every ideology, people have a reason to hate Christians a lot, right? Like if you go to China, if you go to a communist country, then religion is the opiate of the masses. Christianity is standing in the way of the development of society by keeping people focused on heaven and stuff. Then the society doesn't develop the way it's supposed to develop towards a communist utopia. So Christians have to be killed there. In the Muslim world, Christians are committing shirk. They're committing this horrible sin, and they're going to affect everyone with their Christianity. And then in the West, Christianity is anti-science. It's dumb. It's bad. Religion. It's like wherever you go, man. Wherever you go. Yeah, people love us. Hey. Here's a follow-up. Muslims are wiping out Christian communities in Africa.
Yeah.
No, that's true. I mean, we occasionally hear about some of the bad ones, some of the bad massacres, like in Nigeria and so on.
Nigeria, yeah.
But I went to a conference back in, I don't remember when this was, maybe 2012. But I went to a conference in Ethiopia, but people had been brought to this conference from a bunch of other African countries. There was even a Christian there from Somalia. And he said there's almost no Christians in Somalia. But there were Christians there from Sudan, from Ethiopia, and so on. And but they were like it was like leaders. It was like government workers. There were some judges there. There were police and stuff. And basically they were getting together. And it's me, Jay Smith, Sam Solomon, talking about various issues. But they had us giving lectures. But in between us giving lectures, people would get up and give a story. And I heard some of the most horrifying stuff I'd ever heard in my life. I was telling people, you need to get this information out there. They would say, we can't. We'll get in trouble, right? And what they mean there is if people find out that you're reporting the story, they come after your family, right? You can't just go away and go to America and talk about it. I still know, like Pastor George, the guy we did a fundraiser for, he tells me some very horrible stories about stuff in the Sudan. I'm like, hey, I want to make a video about that. And he goes, you can't. Just go after my family, right? My family is still there, right? So there is that. But I mean, it was stories like one woman. The Muslims came and when they took, they said that the Muslims in certain areas they all have weapons, right, like machetes and stuff like this all over the place in their houses, and they're trained to, at the drop of a dime, just come out with machetes to go after someone who's done something horrible. And a guy was talking about someone in his village where they came there and a man refused to convert to Islam, so they killed the man, and then his wife was there. She wouldn't convert, so they made her drink his blood. They tortured her into drinking his blood. I said after that she went crazy until she eventually committed suicide. But everyone had stories like that of the stuff that goes on there. So guys, just keep in mind whatever we're thinking of when we're thinking of persecution could be a lot worse, and it is a lot worse for a lot of people in different parts of the world.
Absolutely.
Someone wants Joshua here says, Apostate Prophet, why haven't you done a video on whether Muhammad existed? What is your view on that, by the way?
I think I wanted to make a video about that in which I want to not prove anything or not give an answer to that, but I want to kind of have a discussion about that only. The thing is, I think from a historic point of view, from a historian's point of view, Muhammad almost definitely existed. He almost definitely, there was a person called Muhammad who actually did all those things that people tell about him. So I think there is little doubt about that. There are some theories about whether he was real, about whether he was called Muhammad, whether he was really in Mecca or not, or somewhere else. But all the discussions that I've seen about that, all the different suggestions that I've seen about that were not strong enough for me to actually follow them and to take them as a fact. So I still believe, from my point of view, that Muhammad did exist. The other thing is, it doesn't really matter to me whether Muhammad existed or not, to be very honest, because what matters to me is what the religion is what Muhammad is in the religion. My issue is what Muhammad means to Muslims, what the results of Muhammad are within Islam, and that's why I criticize Islam, for example. It doesn't really matter whether he existed or not.
Mm-hmm. Hey, just so you know, you've got some competition here.
What competition?
There's someone who goes by the name the Islamophobic Prophet.
Yeah, I see.
So now we've got the Apostate Prophet, and the Islamophobic Prophet. You guys can have a prophet battle to see who's the final prophet. Actually, no, this one's perfect because I did want to ask you about this. Aziz said, Act 17 Apologetics, Apostate Prophet, do you plan to have an interview, discussion, debate with Imam Tawhidi? Now, you had one, but there were technical problems, right?
Yeah. There were massive technical problems. I had to take the video down. It was impossible to listen. But the thing is, he told me when I had a talk with him, he said it would be nice if you, David Wood, me, and him could come together, the three of us, and have a discussion about things.
No, that's perfect, because that's why I posted this, and I got a message from him. See, Twitter forwards messages to my email, right? But I can't access my account, so I can't go into Twitter to do anything. But when someone sends me a direct message, that's what gets forwarded. I don't get regular messages, but when someone sends me a direct message, it forwards it to my email. So I'm still getting messages forwarded from Twitter. I've gotten several from Abdullah Samir, and I had no way of contacting him to answer anything. But Imam Tawhidi messaged me, and he said he's going to be in the U.S., and so he wanted to get together for an interview. But if you wanted to meet with him, then I'll grab the hotel room and we'll all go.
I mean, it could be possible. I didn't talk with him again about it. I mean, the last time I talked with him
No, he
was
just contacted. He contacted me like 2 days ago and said hey, I'm going to be coming to the U.S. at a certain time, and if you'd like to get together for an interview, I'll make some time for it.
I see.
So we would have to fly to him because he's going to be in an area speaking and stuff. So we would go out there and
we could totally do that. Yeah.
Yep. We could do it. I could even bring I could bring a cameraman and camera. I mean, I could bring a cameraman with me if I wanted. Wanted to make it nice.
Definitely, would be nice. It would be interesting to see what the outcome is of the three of us discussing something.
No, we want to wrap this up because we don't want to go.
Yeah.
Nihar Warrior, just repeating the same things that Sam Shamoon and I absolutely decimated. Go through our other live streams where we talk about this. We go through every single one of these. We go through Islamic commentaries. We go through everything to show that these reinterpretations are absolute nonsense. So he says, you say 3356 says Allah praise, but the translation says confers blessings. I know what the translation says. We know that. We know how embarrassed Muslims are by this. That's why we've done this, man. Do you know what the Arabic word for blessings is? Nihar? Baraka, right? So why doesn't it say confers blessings, right? And notice what you'd be saying here, because it uses the same word for what Allah and the angels are doing and then tells the humans to do it. It's telling the humans to pray. Why? Because Allah and his angels do something. What are they doing there? Oh, they're conferring blessings. So your prayers you're conferring blessings? Is that what you're doing? So anyway, we went through this and we showed passage after passage after passage in the hadiths where the salah of Allah is treated differently from his blessings. They would ask for both. Oh, Allah, send your salah, and oh, Allah, also bless us, give us your blessings, and so on. They were treated as different things. And so, yeah, go through some of those. But if you want, Nihar Warrior, we will start it over because I don't think we can do that topic enough. That's an important topic. So you go do your studying, find all your Muslim apologists. And by the way, notice Hijab agreed with me. I said, hey, Allah praise for Muhammad. And he got up there and said, no, it's not to Muhammad, it's for Muhammad, which is exactly what I said, right? But no, I know you're thinking, oh, I can answer this. We went through every single response that's given by Muslims. What you're saying here is exactly where every Muslim starts. We went through them all, refuting this claim, refuting your response through your own sources, proving that according to your prophet, we know exactly. And by the way, you still have to deal with the hadith, right? Allah praying for self-control. You still got to deal with that stuff. So get all your stuff together. Tell us a good time. I will come back with Sam Shamoon because Sam loves this argument. And we will go through step by step just for you. And by the way, after we went through that, we even had a Muslim in the comments section going, okay, I think Allah might pray now. We went through it. That's what the sources say. We really should be wrapping up now. I planned on going an hour.
Yeah.
We've been going 2 hours and 20 minutes now.
Wow.
So any last, if you see any last comments, darn it, I already scrolled past. There were a couple I had lined up and now they're lost. I'll never find them.
Yeah, that happens to me too.
Oh, I will, you look for one last comment you want to respond to, and I will respond to this one from Loris K. So she said, hi, David, what happened to the studio Robert Spencer found? Do you know when the Gateway website, Quranic Textual Criticism website will be available? The Quran Gateway, I don't know. That's going to be awesome when it is available. It's going to be, I think it's going to be world changing, especially if we put it to good use. But I haven't been following it as far as when that's going to be available. As far as Robert Spencer, yeah, Robert Spencer has a nice big studio area, but Robert has no way of funding the equipment to be in the studio. That's why he started Patreon. That's why he started a Patreon account, which he was going to focus on filling that up with equipment to build a studio. Patreon shut him down. And so that's kind of another example of the deplatforming issue that we're dealing with endlessly. But I've been thinking about, seeing if Robert could get on a different one, trying out Subscribestar. I don't know if he'll just get banned again there. But yeah, Robert basically needs a bunch of equipment to put that studio together. He's got the space though. All right. Any last?
I've been looking for questions, but I didn't really find any question that we didn't address.
Uncreated eternal book abrogated. Who believes this stuff? That is a good summary. Uncreated eternal book abrogated. That is interesting stuff. Walter here says, David, I would like to translate into Spanish your teachings about Islam. Walter, you don't need my permission for that. You got two ways you can do it. You can watch my video and make your own videos. You don't have to give me credit. I don't care. I'm not stingy. Can he do that with you too, AP, if he wants to?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So if you like a video that I do, you can translate the entire thing and just give it as your video. And you could actually you could get a big channel, because there's a need for it in Spanish, and there's not a lot of people doing it in Spanish, right? There are now a lot of people responding to Islam in English, but not nowhere near enough in Spanish. So that could be an important niche there. So anything I make, you can translate it and make a video about it yourself. Again, no credit, I don't care. But or if you wanted to, you could just take a video, download it, add Spanish subtitles to everything, and upload it. You can upload it to you can do anything you want with my material. I don't care. I'm not stingy. If I put it out there, it's out there for anyone to use. So just to be clear with everyone, you could take anything that I say in my videos, take it, use it like it's your own. Couldn't conceivably care less about credit and so on. Matter of fact, you know what's messed up? I was reading part of a book about Islam, and I was like, wait a minute, that sounds like something I said. And I looked, and then like a third of this guy's chapter was from an article I wrote for the website Answering Islam years ago. And he took it, stole it, put it in his own book from an article I wrote, no credit. And I thought it was hilarious. I'm like, good, man. Get it out there. So, so yeah, you can't plagiarize anyone else. You guys have my permission to plagiarize anything I say, translate it, do whatever you want with it. Oh, also, Walter, if you want, in any of my videos where the CC is available, where I've made caption, where I've entered captions into it, I've entered subtitles. You can translate those right there, right? So you can go through there, and it gives you the English text, and then you get to translate it right beside it. And that way, when you can translate everything. You can translate the title, you can translate the description, you can translate the entire text of the video, so that the translation comes up as subtitles. And the reason for doing that is once you've translated everything, the title, the description, and the text, then when people are searching in Spanish, that now comes up. That now comes up as a Spanish video, and they can watch the whole thing with Spanish subtitles. So yeah, Walter, do what you want.
That's good. You can do whatever you want with mine too. You can translate my videos. I think that's totally fair. Do we have anything else to say? I don't have anything else to say. I think I don't think there are any more questions that we haven't answered before. Oh, someone asked a question about the Trinity, but I would leave that up to you. So,
well, you would agree that the Quran perfectly describes the doctrine of the Trinity, right?
Nah, I don't know. I don't know about that.
All right, guys. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up. I talked mostly about the deplatforming before you came on. You have any closing thoughts on the deplatforming?
Yeah, well, we have talked about it a lot. You have been censored now on Twitter, which is very bad, because it's boring now. You know, Twitter is boring now. We can't joke anymore with you, but yeah. Facebook as well. But I don't know. The whole thing has become worse since the Christchurch massacre happened, I believe. It was always bad. It will become worse again in the future. I don't really know what to say about it. I've been banned from Instagram several times. I don't even go there anymore because I don't like that platform anymore. I don't want to have anything to do with them. I'm still on Facebook, but I'm always there with a last warning.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I get another post deleted, I'll probably be banned from the platform entirely.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just using it until it happens, And I don't know what's going to happen with Twitter. I don't know if YouTube will at some point arrive at a stage where they will act just like Facebook and Twitter in terms of censorship. But it is sad. It is
Mm-hmm.
sad to me how people in the West with such values, with a value like freedom of speech, are ready to give up this value in favor of a culture that claims to be the victim in many situations. I'm sorry, even saying this, even me saying this, could be perceived as completely bad, completely wrong, completely bigoted and racist and whatever. But that's basically what it is: a culture that claims to be that always claims to be the victim,
Mm-hmm.
that just cries the loudest, that always has to have something to complain about, is being protected here for no reason, that we protected so far that we even give up one of our most beautiful values, which is free speech, and we shouldn't be there. We shouldn't be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
We shouldn't discriminate, but it also doesn't happen. No one is discriminating against Muslims. It's not a big problem, and speech doesn't pollute anything. If speech is a problem, they should leave the consequences of speech between the people who are offended and the people who offend. They shouldn't be stepping in and censoring stuff, because censorship won't ever do the right thing.
Mm-hmm. And my view is really, I mean, think about this, right? You don't have free speech in Islam. Right?
Mm-hmm.
In the West, you're supposed to. And we're in a position where everyone is saying we need to block speech about Islam. We need to block speech of people who are critical of Islam. Why is that? Well, because that's what Islam demands. And for some reason, people just want to give Islam whatever it demands. And so we're basically saying we're going to throw our entire culture in the garbage to do what Muhammad wanted.
Yeah.
An illiterate 7th century caravan trader, we're going to bow to this guy and adapt our culture to suit his commands. And that is so utterly ridiculous that it boggles the mind. But everyone's doing it, right? Facebook is doing it. Twitter's doing it. YouTube's doing it. Instagram's doing it. Patreon's doing it. Everyone's doing it, right? Because keep in mind, when they block someone, you think, oh, that you guys are still talking. Yeah, but you look in the direction things are heading, right? Tommy's been speaking for years. He didn't change, and all of a sudden he started spouting violent stuff, right? It didn't happen. It's just they changed what they're going to allow, right? I've been on Twitter for years, never had a problem. All of a sudden, boom, you're off there. I've been on Facebook for years, never had a problem. All of a sudden, boom, problem, right? So the methods, their standards are changing, and they're changing in line with what Muhammad called for. And once you start heading in that direction, the people who are making those demands on those platforms, they smell blood and they say, this is how we get what we want.
Yeah.
This is how we get. So the message that Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and Instagram are sending to the Muslim world is, if you want us to obey you, just keep doing what you're doing, but do it even more, right? If you got this far by complaining and whining, obviously you have to do it more. If you got this far by false flags and false accusations, then do it even more. That's the message they're sending. And it's just horrible, because this was going to be a really cool time in history, right? Where all of a sudden everyone in the world can communicate with everyone else in the world through these platforms. But the demand is, no, you only get to say certain things and you don't get to share your actual views, and you can't criticize an ideology like Islam. And that is just one horrible shame, because this could be one of the coolest times in history.
This is a boom in human development. We have the internet. This is such a huge revolution, like humankind has never ever seen before, and we are doing this out of that. And just imagine how it looks. We are here in the West. We have a bunch of people in the West who have always been talking whatever they wanted to talk about. You know, they have always been making fun of everything that was considered holy or considered to be respected. Whatever, they're making fun of their queens and kings and politicians and everything. And they're talking like this. And this one company comes and says, "Hey guys, I have created this great network for all of us. We can now all just gather here on this platform without having to visit each other, and we can just all share our opinions here." And people think, "Oh, that's great. Now we can have our normal conversations on this platform." So they start making fun of all the things that they have been making fun of again. They just speak as Western people speak.
Yep.
But now that a different culture comes into that platform as well, because they are made able to use this platform as well, and they suddenly get offended by how your culture has been speaking for hundreds of years. This company suddenly says, "Oh, guys, you have been speaking like this for 500 years, but you just can't say all that stuff anymore because those people who have just joined us are offended by that. Sorry, please stop."
Your culture has made such wonderful countries that we can't get out of the Muslim world fast enough to come to your countries. And now that we're here, we want to impose the same standards and values that made the places where we're fleeing completely unlivable.
Yeah.
The places that we want to flee. But now we want to do the same thing here. Islam is great, man. Islam is some wonderful stuff.
It's disgusting.
A couple last things real quick just for Nihar. Nihar Warrior. When do you want to speak, David? Which platform should we speak if you wish to discuss in private? No, we're not going to do it in private. We're going to do it in public on a live stream. But what we'll do is you get all your objections and responses ready, and I'll put them all up on the screen. So you can type your responses and so on like that. I'll put them up on the screen. Unless you want to come on live or something like that with your best arguments, and then I'll put you on here. I'll put you on the screen. I got no problem. As far as communication, I think if you go to my YouTube page, you can get my email address there. If not, it's on the Answering Islam website. You can get my email address there. If none of that works, just post a comment and post a comment. We'll have to figure out a time that works. But yeah, we'll make that happen. I think it's an interesting enough topic. All right. So.
All right.
All right, I guess we should wrap this up. All right, everyone, thanks for tuning in. We still have over 1,000 people. That's amazing. And if we still keep getting numbers like that, we will definitely be back for plenty more live streams. There was a comment asking when I would get Christian Prince on. People have sent me the Christian Prince's. Yeah, here we go. Contact info for Skype. I've just been too busy to set anything up, but. I'll tell you what, I will do that this weekend. I'll try to schedule something with Christian Prince for next week. And if I forget for something, just remind me. So, all right, everyone, we will see you all next time. And I believe Sam is going to be coming and visiting me here in like another 2 weeks or something like that. But we'll be live streaming, ready to do all the time. Matter of fact, Nihar, that might be a good time to talk when Sam's actually just right here, because then we can have you on by Skype with no problem, and then we're right here. All right. Thanks to AP for joining me, and
thanks for having me.
And
thanks
time.
everyone.
And any parting final advice to everyone, AP?
Stay away from Islam.
All right. Well, he's the prophet.
Stay away from Islam. That's all.